Chapter 2121, The Supreme Inheritance is Not Worthy of Lin Mohan. The Sword Saint Lord's words about how to divide them up made it seem like they had already decided the outcome. She didn't even consider the possibility of not being able to defeat them. In her eyes, the three Saint Lords were like three dishes, it was just a matter of who would eat which one. The War Saint Lord said, "My War God Spear should be able to counter the Black Golden Saint Lord without issue." Lin Mohan said, "The Deep Abyss Demon Lord has hunted Mo Yu several times before. As his sister, I naturally need to settle this score for my brother." The War Saint Lord looked at Lin Mohan in shock, realizing she wasn't joking. The Sword Saint Lord didn't seem to have any reaction, but said in a low voice, "Then I'll take care of the Blood Bull Saint Lord. I'll cut off his bull head." In just a few sentences, the three Saint Lords had been divided up. Lin Mohan slowly stood up. "Then I'll go prepare." She left the conference hall, trailing a fragrant breeze with her graceful steps. After she left, the War Saint Lord finally couldn't help but ask, "Can a Transcendent really handle a Saint Lord?" The gap between the Transcendent and Saint Lord realms was very large. A powerful Saint Lord could kill a Transcendent in a short time. The War Saint Lord could naturally see that Lin Mohan was only at the Transcendent realm, and a newly ascended one at that, having been there for no more than 10 years. The Deep Abyss Demon Lord was a veteran Saint Lord with very strong combat power. Even he would have to be careful when facing him. How could Lin Mohan, a newly ascended Transcendent, fight him? The Sword Saint Lord stood up. "Come on, I'll show you. We can talk as we watch." The War Saint Lord followed the Sword Saint Lord as they flew out of the fortress, flying through the army. A murderous aura permeated the army, with every soldier radiating intense fighting spirit. After decades of war and countless casualties, those who remained here had all been tempered by the fires of battle. The combined fighting spirit of the entire army was so intense that even the War Saint Lord felt shocked. He couldn't help but praise, "The Sword Saint Lord truly knows how to lead an army. This army no longer has any fear in their hearts." The Sword Saint Lord didn't hold back either. "Although my temper isn't good and you all call me crazy, when it comes to warfare, none of you can compare to me." The War Saint Lord immediately agreed, the words about being crazy were just jokes. In terms of warfare, the Sword Saint Lord is indeed unmatched. The Sword Saint Lord said, "We also have to thank Lin Mo Yu. The Zimu ancestral tree he brought back has been a great help. We have almost all the movements of the 100 Race Alliance under our control. This time, we know exactly how many troops, how many Transcendents, and how many Saint Lords the 100 Race Alliance is deploying. We can make targeted arrangements." The War Saint Lord also sighed, "Indeed, the contributions young friend Lin has made for our human race are rarely matched by others. Old Killer is currently using the Heart and Soul Stone to control the life form inside the Zimu ancestral tree. When that life form is born, Old Killer's combat power will increase greatly again." The Sword Saint Lord said, "He does need to increase his strength a bit. Otherwise, when the real big battle breaks out, he might die." The War Saint Lord finally couldn't help but ask, "What's the deal with Fairy Han? I remember you wanted to take her as your disciple back then, and even had a conflict with young friend Lin over it. Also, how can you be at ease letting Fairy Han go deal with the Deep Abyss Demon Lord?" His eyes were burning with curiosity. Having known the Sword Saint Lord for many years, he naturally knew that she wasn't the type to make rash decisions. Although the Sword Saint Lord had a bad temper and was somewhat crazy, that was only in terms of combat. Usually when it came to decision-making, she wouldn't act rashly. Otherwise, the human army wouldn't have been entrusted to her command. A look of reminiscence appeared in the Sword Saint Lord's eyes. "At that time, I took Mohan into the Sword Realm, wanting to find an inheritance for her there. You know the situation in the Sword Realm. There are many inheritances there, with the two strongest being the Sword of Heaven and the Sword of Earth." The War Saint Lord nodded. "The Sword of Heaven belongs to the Heavenly Sword Sect, while the Sword of Earth belongs to the Earthly Sword Sect. As far as I know, someone has already obtained the inheritance of the Heavenly Sword Sect and even established a sect also called the Heavenly Sword Sect. The Heavenly Sword Sect has also taken action in this battle against the 100 Race Alliance." The Sword Saint Lord said, "What you know is only part of it. The Heavenly Sword Sect was an ancient great sect with many inheritances within it. The current Heavenly Sword Sect has only obtained part of the inheritance, not the top-tier inheritance. Their re-establishment of the Heavenly Sword Sect is just giving themselves a golden signboard, borrowing the name of the ancient sect. The true inheritance of the Heavenly Sword sect has not been obtained by anyone so far. The War Saint Lord finally understood. So that's how it was. He didn't use swords and had never been to the Sword Realm, so he didn't understand the Sword Realm. The Sword Saint Lord continued, I've always wanted to obtain the inheritance of the Heavenly Sword sect, but I could never figure out how. However, these years haven't been without gains. I learned of an even more secret piece of information. In ancient times, the strongest sword sect was called the Heaven and Earth Sword sect. The Heavenly Sword sect and Earthly Sword sect were actually two sects that split off from the Heaven and Earth Sword sect. And the Sword Realm was created by the Heaven and Earth Sword sect. The Heaven and Earth Sword sect gathered various sword sects at that time, bringing their inheritances together to form the Sword Realm. This time, what I most hoped Lin Mohan would obtain was the inheritance of the Heaven and Earth Sword sect. The War Saint Lord was moved and urgently asked, did she get it? The Sword Saint Lord's expression became somewhat strange. You could say she got it, and you could also say she didn't get it. These words confused the War Saint Lord. He looked at the Sword Saint Lord, waiting for her to continue explaining. The Sword Realm is actually built within a rule world, which should belong to a supreme being. It's filled with the rule power of a supreme being, with many restrictions. I used my own rule power to activate the inheritance left by the Heaven and Earth Sword sect, and then tried to let Mohan make contact with it. The inheritance of the Heaven and Earth Sword sect is a sword called the Heaven and Earth Sword. As long as you bow to the Heaven and Earth Sword, you can know whether you're qualified to receive the inheritance. To be honest, I've bowed to it before and obtained an inheritance at that time, but it wasn't the strongest inheritance. Perhaps the Heaven and Earth Sword felt my qualifications weren't enough. But when Lin Mohan bowed to the Heaven and Earth Sword, it ran away. The War Saint Lord was stunned for a moment before exclaiming in surprise, ran away. Bowing was simply a matter of accepting or not accepting. What did running away mean? The Sword Saint Lord said, yes, it ran away, very quickly. At that time, I heard the Heaven and Earth Sword let out a scream. To be precise, it should have been the Sword Spirit screaming. It was very afraid. Mohan and I didn't know what to do, but fortunately, after just a few minutes, the Heaven and Earth Sword flew back. Then the Heaven and Earth Sword obediently stopped in front of Lin Mohan, not moving at all. The War Saint Lord suddenly remembered that Lin Mohan seemed to have a sword on her back earlier. Many sword cultivators carried swords on their backs, so he hadn't paid much attention at the time. Thinking back now, he suddenly realized that sword seemed somewhat unusual. The War Saint Lord asked, the Heaven and Earth Sword, it wouldn't happen to be the sword on Fairy Han's back, would it? The Sword Saint Lord confirmed the War Saint Lord's guess, yes, it's that sword. Afterwards, I asked Mohan, and she said she didn't receive the inheritance of the Heaven and Earth Sword sect. Obtaining the Heaven and Earth Sword but not receiving the inheritance of the Heaven and Earth Sword sect, what was that about? The Sword Saint Lord said, according to Mohan, the Sword Spirit of the Heaven and Earth Sword told her that the inheritance of the Heaven and Earth Sword sect wasn't worthy of her. The War Saint Lord's eyes immediately widened in disbelief. An ancient great sect, the sect that created the Sword Realm, their supreme inheritance actually said it wasn't worthy of Lin Mohan. Chapter 2122, 2122. Chapter 2122, so the legend was true. Forget about the War Saint Lord, even the Sword Saint Lord was stunned for a long time when she first got this answer. But Lin Mohan wouldn't make things up, and the Sword Saint Lord could see that Lin Mohan truly hadn't received the Heaven and Earth Sword sect's inheritance. The War Saint Lord couldn't help but ask, so that's why you didn't dare to take Fairy Han as your disciple? The Sword Saint Lord glared at him, of course. Even the Heaven and Earth Sword said it wasn't worthy, how could I dare to take her? Wouldn't that be shortening my own lifespan? The War Saint Lord thought for a moment, do you think Fairy Han is the reincarnation of an ancient powerful being? The Sword Saint Lord said, the talk of reincarnation is just a legend, it has never been proven. I told this matter to the Heavenly Saint Lord and the House Saint Lord, but they couldn't confirm it either. The War Saint Lord sighed, in such matters, we can only believe it's possible, but can't be certain it's not. The Sword Saint Lord nodded, that's right. I used to think the same way, until 30 years ago when I changed my mind. The War Saint Lord asked curiously, what happened 30 years ago? The Sword Saint Lord said, 30 years ago, Lin Mohan had another breakthrough and was about to advance to the Transcendent Realm. I originally thought she would only enter the half-step Transcendent Realm, and was planning to take her to the battlefield to open the blood path to transcendence. But at that time, Elder Star sent a message, meaning for Lin Mohan to cross the Law River by her own power to achieve transcendence. The War Saint Lord's expression changed again, crossing the Law River by oneself. Even for top-tier geniuses, it would take at least 1,000 years, right? Although the foundation would be more solid, it would be a complete waste of time. Using the blood path wouldn't affect becoming a Saint Lord either. The Sword Saint Lord said, I thought the same, but Elder Star insisted, so I had no choice. The War Saint Lord finally understood what was wrong. 30 years ago she had a breakthrough and started crossing the Law River. She didn't use the blood path, but relied on her own power, and now she had already achieved transcendence. In just 30 short years, she achieved transcendence. The War Saint Lord's expression could no longer remain calm, becoming twisted and strange. The Sword Saint Lord couldn't help but laugh. Old War, your expression is very funny. She even took out a mirror to let the War Saint Lord see himself, but the War Saint Lord couldn't laugh at all. He kept repeating one sentence, 30 years, she crossed over in just 30 years. The Sword Saint Lord corrected his words, not 30 years, but 20 years. Mohan only used 20 years to cross the Law River and achieve transcendence. For the past 10 years, she's been cultivating. Only now do I understand why the Sword Spirit of the Heaven and Earth Sword said their inheritance wasn't worthy of Lin Mohan. After entering the Transcendent Realm, Lin Mohan awakened a sword technique. The power of this sword technique is unprecedented. I feel it's even more terrifying than the supreme inheritance of the Heaven and Earth Sword sect. So I think she really is the reincarnation of an ancient powerful being. The legend is true. Hearing this, the War Saint Lord was completely speechless. Lin Mohan was truly the reincarnation of an ancient powerful being, with inheritance in her bloodline that would only awaken when she reached the Transcendent Realm. Moreover, he knew that Lin Mohan and Lin Moyu had a blood resonance. Besides her own cultivation, as long as Lin Moyu's realm increased, her realm would increase as well. Combined with her extremely fast cultivation speed, under such circumstances, 1 + 1 was completely greater than 2. Don't look at Lin Mohan having just reached transcendence now. In another 100 years, she might become a Saint Lord. When Lin Moyu becomes a Saint Lord, would Lin Mohan become a Supreme Being? Without the God's path, she would at least be a half-step Supreme Being. Combined with the inheritance in her bloodline and that Heaven and Earth Sword from ancient times, her battle power. The War Saint Lord suddenly felt that the Deep Abyss Demon Lord was in trouble. Lin Mohan probably wouldn't let him off this time. The Deep Abyss Demon Lord had hunted Lin Moyu several times, now it was his turn to cry. The Sword Saint Lord said, you've seen enough. You should go prepare too. The Black Golden Saint Lord isn't easy to deal with. Don't get careless and end up being killed instead. That would be tragic. The War Saint Lord said, don't worry. With the War God Spear, it won't be easy to kill him, but defeating him won't be difficult. Because of the Zimu ancestral tree, all those who had eaten Zimu fruits and later became seeded ones had become eyes and ears for the human race. Through them, the human race knew all the plans of the 100 Race Alliance clearly. Combined with the human race's original surveillance intelligence system, all the movements of the 100 Race Alliance were under the human race's nose. Actually, when the Fu Saint Lord had someone take over the Zimu ancestral tree back then, he didn't expect there would be so many people who had eaten Zimu fruits. There were at least tens of billions, spread among various races. The Zimu fruits were all children of the Zimu race. How could the Zimu race not hate having over 10 billion of their children eaten? The fate of the Zimu race was one of the most tragic even in the Great World. It was bad enough for others to be exterminated, but they were kept in captivity and became food for others. No wonder they had so much resentment, nurturing a terrifying life form with the resentment of their entire race. They hoped to use this terrifying life form to take revenge on those races. Unfortunately, they still failed in the end. Lin Moyu's appearance destroyed all their plans. The life form they nurtured would also become a tool for the human race. The cruel great world was just like this. The victors lived, and also decided the life and death of the losers. In the Divine City's central Divine Palace, the doors that had been closed for over 10 years opened again. The House Saint Lord was waiting at the door. As soon as the doors opened, he immediately flew in. Inside the central Divine Palace, a strange aura permeated the air. An array had not yet completely stopped. On the main seat, the Heavenly Saint Lord slowly opened his eyes and let out a long breath. This breath flew out over 100 meters, turning into a thick mist that lingered for a long time. The House Saint Lord asked in a deep voice, "How was it?" The Heavenly Saint Lord looked at the House Saint Lord, his gaze calm. "There's good news and bad news. Which do you want to hear first?" The House Saint Lord said helplessly, "Don't joke around, just tell me quickly." The Heavenly Saint Lord slowly stood up and waved his hand, throwing out a set of tea utensils. The tea utensils had spirits and began to brew tea on their own. "The good news is that I entered that world again. This spirit journey can be considered successful. The bad news is that after I entered, the person I attached to didn't have enough status or strength, so I couldn't get complete enough information. I'll organize the specific information and put it in the Human Emperor Network. You can look at it yourself." After spirit journeying for over 10 years, the information the Heavenly Saint Lord obtained was somewhat complex and chaotic, needing to be organized. The House Saint Lord asked, "How many supreme beings do they have in their world? Do they have heavenly lords?" Nothing else mattered, only the information about the strongest beings was important. If there were no heavenly lords, and not too many supreme beings, then they still had a chance. The Heavenly Saint Lord organized the information and said after a few seconds, "The power levels in that world are quite different from our classifications. Give me some time, I'll tell you after I finish organizing." The House Saint Lord nodded, "All right, you organize it first. I'll wait, there's no rush." The Heavenly Saint Lord drank a few cups of tea, his mind rapidly processing, organizing the information he had obtained. What he obtained was not just basic information about that world, but also the power system, various surface situations. After organizing, it still needed to be compared by the Human Emperor Network. Based on various situations in that world, they would get answers. After waiting for a full 10 days, the Heavenly Saint Lord finally finished organizing the information, and the Human Emperor Network had sorted it out. The information about that world was projected out. Battle Realm. 2 huge characters appeared before their eyes, the name of that world. Chapter 2123, 2123. Chapter 2123, I want Lin Moyu to enter. The House Saint Lord looked at the information brought back by the Heavenly Saint Lord. Not only was he looking, but the Heavenly Saint Lord was also looking. In the Battle Realm, the information one could obtain while attached to someone depended on the person they were attached to. The experiences and observations of the attached person essentially determined the information the Heavenly Saint Lord could obtain. If attached to a low-level person, the information obtained would be minimal. But if attached to a strong person, there was a risk of being discovered. While there wouldn't be any danger, it could lead to the failure of the spirit journey. Although it was possible to change the attached person during the journey, it was difficult and could interrupt the spirit journey. Therefore, the first choice of attachment was crucial. The Heavenly Saint Lord chose someone of mid-level strength in the Battle Realm, not too strong or too weak. According to the calculations of the Human Emperor Network, this person was equivalent to a God King in the Great World, capable of knowing enough information. Much of the information the Heavenly Saint Lord obtained during the spirit journey was accepted in a dazed state, memorized like rote learning, and very chaotic. Now he also needed to see what information he had brought back. In the Battle Realm, there was only one type of cultivator, called a fighter. Fighters were given different titles based on their strength. From weakest to strongest, they were mountain-moving fighters, sea-dividing fighters, earth-splitting fighters, sky-patrolling fighters, and the strongest, star fighters. The Human Emperor Network matched this information with the Great World's realms. Mountain-moving fighters corresponded to true gods, sea-dividing fighters to god kings, earth-splitting fighters to god lords, and sky-patrolling fighters to transcendents. As for those below mountain moving, they were considered unranked in the Battle Realm, collectively called unranked fighters. Upon reaching the corresponding level, they could summon battle armor, with different forms and powers depending on the level, and the titles were derived from this. The person the Heavenly Saint Lord attached to was a sea-dividing fighter, equivalent to a god king in the Great World, knowing neither too much nor too little. The strongest person this sea-dividing fighter could come into contact with was a sky-patrolling fighter, the strongest in their city. It was said that above sky-patrolling fighters, there was an even stronger type of fighter called star fighters. But this was just a legend, and he had never seen one. The name Star Fighter had appeared in Lin Moyu's small world before. At that time, there was a force called the Holy Fighting God Domain, and star fighters were the strongest within it. The Human Emperor Network inferred that star fighters should be supreme beings. In other words, sky-patrolling fighters included both transcendents and saint lords. Most crucially, above star fighters, there was a battle emperor. The battle emperor was the faith of all in the battle realm, and all fighters served the battle emperor. Everyone in the battle realm was a subject of the battle emperor. If this was the case, the battle emperor might be a heavenly lord. However, the battle emperor was just a legend, and no one had ever seen him, so his existence was in doubt. The House Saint Lord frowned deeply as he read this information, feeling that the situation was very troublesome. While the House Saint Lord was reading this information, the human emperor and Elder Star were also looking at it. They knew more than the House Saint Lord and others. Elder Star said, "Do you think the battle emperor exists?" The human emperor said, "He should exist. Everything has a source, just like many myths in small worlds, where the protagonists are actually powerful beings in the great world." Elder Star murmured, "This makes things difficult. If a heavenly lord exists, we have no chance." The human emperor shook his head. "He exists, but he may not be in the battle realm. He might have already left. Based on the information I obtained, I made several speculations. The worst-case scenario is that there is a heavenly lord in the battle realm. In that case, we have no chance, and all our efforts will be in vain." Elder Star nodded silently. The information about heavenly lords in the human emperor network, though incomplete, was enough to analyze that heavenly lords were extremely powerful and terrifying. The human emperor continued, "The second possibility is that there is no heavenly lord in the battle realm, and the battle emperor is just a peak supreme being. After all, the information Lin Moyu brought back said there were no heavenly lords in the battle realm, which is highly credible. Lin Moyu's information came from the Red Star Supreme Being, who inferred it based on what Lin Moyu saw in the Boundary Sea. Comprehensive analysis suggested that the likelihood of no heavenly lord in the battle realm was quite high. Based on this, the worst-case scenario would be the existence of an ultimate peak supreme being. Such an existence was already extremely terrifying, but the great world still had a chance." Elder Star asked, "If that's the case, what are our chances?" The human emperor closed his eyes and calculated, "With our current strength, we have about a 10% chance." A 10% chance was almost like having no chance. Elder Star smiled bitterly, "Well, at least there's a glimmer of hope." The human emperor was not one to offer comfort. His results were all derived from calculations. The human emperor said, "The third possibility is that a long time ago, a powerful being we can't imagine passed through the battle realm and left a legacy there. That being became a myth, the emperor in the hearts of all in the battle realm. This outcome would be very favorable for us, increasing our success rate to 40%. However, it also carries the highest risk of unexpected events, as we might anger a powerful being, leading to the direct destruction of the great world." Elder Star sighed, "This is more troublesome than fishing. Isn't there a better outcome?" "There is. The battle emperor in the battle realm might be a fictional character, not existing at all. But this possibility is very small, less than 10%. The human emperor spoke honestly, neither exaggerating nor downplaying. To Elder Star, less than 10% was equivalent to nothing. Elder Star frowned deeply. "Besides our planned arrangements, is there any other way?" The human emperor said, "There is, but it's very risky." Elder Star's eyes lit up. "What way?" The human emperor pointed, and a star map of the great world appeared before them, with several red dots on it. Each red dot emitted a bloody aura, seemingly carrying some danger. There were 6 red dots in total, 3 in the outer domain, far from the inner domain. Of the 3 in the inner domain, only one was in the human star region, and it was in the divine city star region. Elder Star naturally recognized these 6 places. "You mean the ancient ruins?" The human emperor said, "Yes, based on current information, in ancient times, there might have been heavenly lords who died in battle, and peak supreme beings too. Their corpses have not decayed over 10,000 years and should be inside. With Lin Moyu's techniques, if he can obtain a heavenly lord's corpse, even if there is a heavenly lord in the battle realm, we wouldn't need to worry." Elder Star looked at the star map, where the 6 scarlet dots glowed like beasts ready to devour, making one shudder. Elder Star sighed, "There are many ancient ruins, and we are trying our best to explore them. But these 6 places are the most dangerous known so far." The human emperor said, "The more dangerous, the higher the possibility. Not to mention heavenly lords, even if only supreme beings died, their rule worlds might be destroyed, but not completely, leaving remnants. The remnants of rule worlds would automatically evolve into ancient ruins. Depending on the strength of the supreme being before death, the amount of remaining rule power, and the danger of the evolved ancient ruins would vary greatly. Some less dangerous ancient ruins had been explored deeply. But those dangerous ancient ruins were much harder to explore. However, even the worst ancient ruins were evolved from supreme beings rule worlds, and god lords wouldn't dare enter, as they would likely die. Only transcendents and saint lords could explore them. The 6 ancient ruins on the star map were dangerous even for saint lords, with some having fallen inside. The human emperor suspected that these 6 ruins were likely left by the strongest supreme beings, peak supreme beings. One of them might even be left by a heavenly lord. Elder Star said in a deep voice, "You want the young ones to go in again?" The human emperor shook his head. "No, I want Lin Moyu to go in." Chapter 2124, 2124. Chapter 2124, You are too weak. Ignoring Elder Star's shock, the human emperor expressed his thoughts. His thoughts were also based on various data, ultimately resulting in a comprehensive analysis. He did not think about the problem with emotional reasoning. All his results were very rational. In the human emperor's calculations, as long as Lin Moyu reached the high-level God Lord realm, his combat power could rival that of a Saint Lord. Once Lin Moyu reached the transcendent realm, his combat power could reach the level of a half-step supreme being. A half-step supreme being would be comparable to Elder Star, or even surpass him. By then, sweeping through the various races would not be a problem. However, beyond that, the human emperor could not calculate further. He did not know if Lin Moyu, upon reaching the Saint Lord realm, could compare to a true supreme being. He did not have specific data on supreme being combat power, and the differences between supreme beings were immense. A powerful supreme being could easily crush a weaker supreme being. The 6 currently known, highly dangerous ancient ruins had been explored before. Over the years, human Saint Lords had visited many times, with 2 Saint Lords dying inside and gaining nothing. Now, even if the House Saint Lord and others went in again, it would not be of much use. So, according to the human emperor's calculations, the most likely person to gain something from these ruins was Lin Moyu. Of course, not now. It would be best to wait until Lin Moyu reached the transcendent realm, or at least the peak of the God Lord realm. If he went now, it would be no different from sending him to his death. Elder Star pondered deeply. "I think we should still ask him and let him decide for himself. After all, it's too dangerous. Anything could happen inside." The human emperor nodded. "Of course, we can't force him. It will be his own decision." The 100 Race Alliance's army, after several days of preparation, finally assembled and began advancing towards the human race. They were aggressive, occupying a vast star region. Each of the 100 races sent troops, and the numbers were not small. In total, their numbers exceeded 1 billion. While they were preparing, the human race was also continuously increasing their forces to respond to this great battle. However, the human race's forces were only about 500 million, much fewer than the 100 Race Alliance. Fortunately, the human race's war machines were powerful. Fortresses and warships were much stronger than those of the 100 Race Alliance. Among the various races, the human race had the strongest war machines. With these war machines, the human race was not afraid even if they were outnumbered. Moreover, the true deciders of this war's outcome would be the battles between the transcendent Saint Lords. The human race had control over all the movements of the 100 Race Alliance. As soon as the 100 Race Alliance moved, the human race also began to mobilize. 500 million troops advanced, countless warships and fortresses forming battle arrays in space. This time, it was a direct confrontation. Both the 100 Race Alliance and the human race needed a decisive battle. If the human race won this battle, the 100 Race Alliance's momentum would plummet. If they lost, the human race would have to retreat. However, this battle was not the final decisive battle, as not many Saint Lords were involved, and the foundations of both sides had not yet been mobilized. Wars between powerful races were not as simple as one might think. The armies of both sides were separated by millions of kilometers, facing each other from afar. The human transcendents were already distributed throughout the army, ready to deal with the transcendents of the 100 Race Alliance. In terms of the number of transcendents, the human race was also at a disadvantage. But the human race had war fortresses, which could somewhat compensate. Moreover, the human transcendents had significantly stronger combat power than those of the weaker races. Even among transcendents, there were significant differences. On the War God Fortress, the Sword Saint Lord, the War Saint Lord, and Lin Mohan stood side by side. Facing them from afar were the Deep Abyss Demon Lord, the Black Golden Saint Lord, and the Blood Bull Saint Lord. The Deep Abyss Demon Lord saw Lin Mohan and sneered, "Are all your human Saint Lords dead? You actually sent a little girl at the Transcendent Realm." The Sword Saint Lord sneered, "Better than a coward like you, who doesn't even dare to come in person, only sending an avatar." The Deep Abyss Demon Lord had not come in person but had sent an avatar. However, this avatar was very strong, also reaching the Saint Lord level. Creating avatars was a talent of the demon race, and no one knew how many avatars the Deep Abyss Demon Lord had. But such a powerful avatar, he had only one. A Saint Lord avatar, also known as the first avatar, had combat power weaker than the main body but still stronger than an ordinary transcendent. The Deep Abyss Demon Lord sneered, "Although it's just an avatar, it's enough to kill a transcendent." Lin Mohan's expression was cold, and her sword aura surged, "You can try." The Deep Abyss Demon Lord looked at Lin Mohan, "Little girl, you have quite a temper. Why do you look familiar? My main body hasn't seen you before." Lin Mohan said, "The dead don't deserve to know." Clang! The Sword Saint Lord's long sword was unsheathed, emitting a sword hum, and countless cracks appeared in the starry sky. An invisible sword intent locked onto the Blood Bull Saint Lord, "This bull's head is mine. Tonight, I'll treat everyone to roasted beef, Saint Lord level roasted beef." Her voice echoed through the starry sky, and the human warrior's fighting spirit surged, roaring in unison. War was imminent, and the Blood Bull Saint Lord trembled with anger. Someone actually wanted to turn him into roasted beef. As a Saint Lord, when had he ever been so humiliated? At this moment, another fighting intent fell on the Black Golden Saint Lord. The War Saint Lord's powerful aura locked onto the Black Golden Saint Lord. Add another dish, roasted eagle. Lin Mohan's sword intent also rose, firmly locking onto the Deep Abyss Demon Lord. The three followed their pre-arranged plan and divided their targets. The Deep Abyss Demon Lord chuckled, "Let's see who kills whom. After I kill this little girl, I'll come to help you. Today, 2 human Saint Lords will fall." The Blood Bull Saint Lord sneered, "Today, this old bull will also taste the blood and flesh of human Saint Lords." Fight! With a shout from the Sword Saint Lord, the human race launched the first attack. Countless beams of light shot out from the warships, exploding in the starry sky. The 100 Race Alliance formed battle arrays and quickly counterattacked, and the battle officially began. The Transcendents flew out, distancing themselves from the battlefield for their fight. The power of Transcendent battles was too great, and just the aftermath could cause heavy casualties on both sides. The Saint Lords moved even farther away, creating their own battlefield. The Deep Abyss Demon Lord sneered, "Little girl, come to die." He turned into a mass of dark green flames, instantly flying billions of kilometers away. Lin Mohan sneered, turning into a stream of light that pierced through the starry sky, her speed no slower than the Deep Abyss Demon Lord. The Sword Saint Lord and the War Saint Lord also moved. The Sword Saint Lord's sword intent tore through the starry sky, cutting off the Milky Way. The Blood Bull Saint Lord roared, and a blood-red Mad Bull appeared in the starry sky. The Mad Bull had 2 horns on its head, one crackling with lightning, creating a sea of thunder. The other horn was ablaze, as if it would burn the starry sky to ashes. In the sea of thunder and fire, a sword aura slashed out, and the Sword Saint Lord struck from the sky. The Blood Bull Saint Lord cast a spell, merging the seas of thunder and fire to block the Sword Saint Lord. On the other side, the Black Golden Saint Lord created countless black and gold streams of light, forming a massive net that enveloped the War Saint Lord, trying to trap him. Speed was the Black Golden Saint Lord's advantage, and his speed was so fast that even other Saint Lords could barely see him. But there was no need to see clearly. The War Saint Lord wielded the War God Spear, which roared continuously, tearing the net to shreds. Then the War God Spear's tip pointed, locking onto the Black Golden Saint Lord. The Black Golden Saint Lord's speed slowed down, as the space around him solidified. The War God Spear grew to 100,000 meters long, crushing towards the Black Golden Saint Lord. The Black Golden Saint Lord's expression changed slightly, and he took out a shield covered in feathers. "Let's see how many strikes you can make." The Deep Abyss Demon Lord stopped, sneering at Lin Mohan. "Little girl, you're about to die. Any last words? I can bring them back for you." Lin Mohan slowly drew the Heaven and Earth sword from her back. "Your avatar has no rule world, you're not a true Saint Lord, you're too weak." In the next second, the sword light illuminated the starry sky. Chapter 2125, 2125. Chapter 2125, one sword to shatter the void, instantly killing the Abyss Demon Lord. The sword light exploded in the starry sky, and sword energy swept across the cosmos. From billions of miles away, several transcendent beings sensed this aura simultaneously, and their expressions changed drastically. They all felt a stinging pain on their skin, as if targeted by the sword energy. Within the sword energy, there was an unparalleled will. This will seemed capable of tearing through the heavens, threatening to annihilate the entire world. However, at this moment, Lin Mohan had not truly swung her sword, she had merely raised the heaven and earth sword. The Abyss Demon Lord's face changed dramatically, his eyes filled with disbelief. Impossible, you are just a transcendent, how can you be this strong? Lin Mohan did not explain. With a delicate shout, she swung her sword. One sword to shatter the void. The starry sky shattered, and the sword light, 1,000 times more brilliant than before, swept across the cosmos in an instant. The power of the rules boiled over, transforming into countless sharp swords, which then formed a world made entirely of swords. This world of swords surrounded the Abyss Demon Lord, leaving him no escape. The abyssal fire that had shrouded his body for eons suddenly extinguished at this moment. His true form was finally revealed, emaciated, pitch black, and hideously demonic. The Abyss Demon Lord let out a terrified scream, "Who are you? Who exactly are you?" Lin Mohan's melodious voice echoed, "The dead are not worthy of knowing." The Abyss Demon Lord unleashed his full power, and the abyssal fire reignited as he tried to resist, but it was futile. The world of swords exploded in the starry sky, tearing the entire cosmos to pieces. Layers of space shattered, revealing the deep space beneath. Spatial chaos erupted in the deep space, but it was soon obliterated as well. The power of this sword was absurdly strong, even suppressing the spatial chaos, its terrifying force reaching the deepest parts of the world and colliding with the world's barriers. It was as if the entire world was roaring. Billions of miles away, the transcendent beings spat blood, knocked back by the shockwave. Countless wounds appeared on their bodies, as if slashed by sharp swords. Their eyes were filled with shock, and more so with fear. Just the aftershock, separated by billions of miles, was enough to injure them. It was truly terrifying. They looked at Lin Mohan, this female swordmaster holding a treasured sword, so heroic and extraordinary at this moment. With the body of a transcendent, she had slain the Abyss Demon Lord with one sword. Even though it was just an avatar of the Abyss Demon Lord, not his true form, and lacked a rule world. Nevertheless, it was far stronger than an ordinary transcendent. With this sword, Lin Mohan was like a celestial sword fairy, unmatched in elegance. After slashing out this sword, Lin Mohan's face turned slightly pale, but her aura remained steady. She suddenly turned around, heading back to the battlefield, targeting the other transcendent beings. The transcendent beings she targeted were scared out of their wits, screaming as they turned to flee. But they hadn't flown far when a sword light pierced the starry sky, directly impaling one of them. The powerful transcendent exploded in the sword light, his blood and flesh scattering across the cosmos. Lin Mohan waved her hand, and a piece of flesh flew back to her, which she collected. "Xiao Yu needs this," Lin Mohan murmured to herself, then charged towards another transcendent. The Abyss Demon Lord was slain with one sword, and both the Black Golden Saint Lord and the Blood Bull Saint Lord's eyes widened. "Impossible," the two of them shouted in unison. But the fact was undeniable, there was nothing impossible about it. The War Saint Lord's eyes narrowed sharply. He finally understood why the Sword Saint Lord was so confident in letting Lin Mohan face the Abyss Demon Lord alone. This Lin Mohan was actually this powerful. That sword just now, even he wouldn't dare say he could take it unscathed. Perhaps he could block it with the War God Spear, but without a magical weapon, he would be severely injured if not killed. Siblings, both monsters. The War Saint Lord cursed, and the War God Spear roared again, charging towards the Black Golden Saint Lord. At the same time, he popped a pill into his mouth, and his aura surged, boosting the power of the War God Spear. The Black Golden Saint Lord let out a strange cry, pulling out a long golden spear and hurling it fiercely. At this moment, he had lost all will to fight. Witnessing the Abyss Demon Lord being slain, his fear reached its peak. If that female monster came back, he might die too. That sword was simply too stunning, too terrifying. The golden spear collided with the War God Spear and shattered on the spot. The Black Golden Saint Lord spat blood and was knocked back millions of kilometers. At the same time, he shouted, "Retreat! Sword light sword," accompanied by the Sword Saint Lord's angry shout. Sword light illuminated the starry sky again, and a brilliant sword light like a river of stars appeared in the cosmos. A scream came from the Blood Bull Saint Lord, who quickly fled. Half of his body had been cut off, and Saint Lord blood spilled across the sky. The 100 Race Alliance's army, upon receiving the Black Golden Saint Lord's order, immediately began to retreat. Although they retreated, it wasn't chaotic. Everyone knew that chaos would mean death. The human race pursued for millions of kilometers, showing no intention of letting them go. It wasn't until the transcendent beings returned that the Sword Saint Lord ordered the pursuit to stop. Once the transcendent beings took action, many ordinary soldiers would die, which was unnecessary. This battle was already a great victory. No one expected victory to come so quickly. From start to finish, it took less than 10 minutes. One could say the battle ended before the warm-up was even over. The reason was Lin Mohan's stunning sword, which instantly killed the Abyss Demon Lord and quickly secured victory. No one had expected this, especially the War Saint Lord. He had originally thought that Lin Mohan was impressive, but that being able to contend with the Abyss Demon Lord would already be very strong. He planned to defeat the Black Golden Saint Lord first, then go help Lin Mohan. He never thought he could kill the Black Golden Saint Lord, given the latter's status as a Saint Lord and his identity with the Golden Eagle clan. If he wanted to escape, it would be hard to kill him. Unexpectedly, he underestimated Lin Mohan, who killed the Abyss Demon Lord with just one sword. Moreover, she continued to chase and kill transcendent beings, with 3 dying by her hand. The Sword Saint Lord returned with half of the Blood Bull Saint Lord's body, her voice echoing through the army. Half of the Blood Bull's body will be distributed as rewards. The warriors erupted in thunderous roars, their shouts filled with joy. This battle was won too easily. If one word could describe it, it would be, C1/2. C1/2 means, refreshing, or, satisfying. Throughout the battle, the Human Emperor Network monitored everything, clearly recording everyone's performance. The Blood Bull's flesh would be distributed based on merit, and many people would get a small piece. That was the flesh of a Saint Lord. Even a piece the size of a fingernail could be a family heirloom. Of course, the Saint Lords and transcendent beings wouldn't participate in this. Such things had happened many times in recent decades, and no one had any objections. The War Saint Lord looked at Lin Mohan. Fairy Han, can you teach that sword move you used just now? Lin Mohan shook her head, directly refusing, you all can't learn it. The Sword Saint Lord said, I asked before, this sword move requires a special bloodline. No one but Mohan can use it. Is that so? The War Saint Lord finally understood. He thought for a moment, can Lin Xiaoyu learn this sword move? Lin Mohan shook her head again, no. The Sword Saint Lord laughed heartily, don't ask any more. I've already asked everything. This sword move is unique to Mohan, one of a kind. The War Saint Lord nodded. This battle was won so quickly thanks to Fairy Han. After this battle, Fairy Han's name will spread across the cosmos. Chapter 2126, 2126. Chapter 2126, the Ghost Race should reappear. As the War Saint Lord had said, on the way back to the army, Lin Mohan's name had already spread. Originally, people only knew of a beautiful and unparalleled Fairy Han, but now she had gained the title of an unrivaled female sword immortal. Although most people did not know how strong Lin Mohan was, those at the Transcendent Realm knew, and some peak god lords were also aware. She was someone who had killed the Abyss Demon Lord with one sword strike. Although she had just entered the Transcendent Realm, she possessed the combat power of a Saint Lord. Some people knew more about Lin Mohan, understanding her relationship with Lin Moyu. These people were even more shocked, realizing that both siblings were extraordinary. Now it seemed that the elder sister was even more formidable than the younger brother. At such a young age, she had already reached the Transcendent Realm, and her combat power was comparable to that of a Saint Lord. If she became a Saint Lord in the future, it would be unimaginable. In the royal city of the abyssal demon lineage of the demon race, the Abyss Demon Lord let out a terrifying roar, and the abyssal fire boiled violently. The entire planet was covered in volcanic eruptions, and the planet quickly turned dark green. Who are you? Who exactly are you? How can the human race have such a strong transcendent? The Abyss Demon Lord was on the verge of madness. His first avatar had been killed, and it had died so swiftly that it had no chance to resist. Although the first avatar did not possess powerful treasures or original techniques, it still had the combat power of a Saint Lord, more than enough to deal with a transcendent. But now, it had been killed in one sword strike by a transcendent. The death of the Avatar directly led to the failure of the battle that had been prepared for years. The Abyss Demon Lord's fury swept through the entire star system, and the abyssal fire continued to erupt, turning the star system into a sea of fire. Countless weak demons were burned to ashes by the abyssal fire. In the central divine palace of the divine city, the heavenly Saint Lord and the house Saint Lord stared at each other. In front of them, a scene was replaying. It was the scene of Lin Mohan easily killing the Abyss Demon Lord with one sword strike. The house Saint Lord held a teacup for a long time, forgetting to drink, murmuring, "The younger brother is a little monster, the elder sister is a big monster." The heavenly Saint Lord was no better off, saying, "Just entering the transcendent realm and already having such combat power, I feel like we old guys are all useless." The house Saint Lord agreed, "Indeed, we are a bit useless. That sword strike, even I would have a hard time taking it." The heavenly Saint Lord said, "But it seems she only has the strength for one sword strike." After she slashed out that sword, her aura dropped significantly. The house Saint Lord's sharp eyes also noticed this detail. After slashing out that sword, Lin Mohan still appeared strong, but her power had been greatly depleted. So she did not go after the Black Golden Saint Lord and the Blood Bull Saint Lord, instead turning to kill other transcendents. It should be said that she did not have the strength to slash out a second sword, so she chose to retreat. Otherwise, with the cooperation of the War Saint Lord or the Sword Saint Lord, they could have killed another Saint Lord. The House Saint Lord said, "Even if she only has the strength for one sword strike, it's enough. When she grows a bit more and reaches the Saint Lord realm." His eyes were full of smiles, as if he could see the moment of the human race's final victory. The heavenly Saint Lord said, "It's not that simple. The strong races have their foundations, and those guys are not easy to deal with." The House Saint Lord was in a great mood. "No matter what, our human race has gained another top-tier combat power, and that's a good thing." Indeed, the human race had gained another combat power equivalent to a Saint Lord, which was a good thing. Originally, the number of Saint Lords in the 100 Race Alliance exceeded that of the human race. Now, with the addition of another Saint Lord combat power to the human race, and the death of the Abyss Demon Lord's first avatar, the gap had been significantly narrowed, which was indeed a great thing. Both of them knew that the battlefield would likely be peaceful for a while. Not only the battlefield in the Vermilion Bird Star region but also the other 3 battlefields would be much more peaceful. After this major defeat, the 100 Race Alliance would inevitably retreat and regroup. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the human race could continue to train its people. Unconsciously, the human race had turned the battlefield into a training ground, a place to cultivate geniuses. Time passed day by day, and as the heavenly Saint Lord and the House Saint Lord had predicted, this major defeat dealt a severe blow to the morale of the 100 Race Alliance. In the following decades, they did not make any major moves. Small-scale battles continued to occur, with the human race maintaining a record of more victories than defeats. Both sides seemed to have reached a special tacit understanding, maintaining a balance and waiting for the next major battle. It could be predicted that when the next major battle broke out, its scale would surpass the previous ones. 20 years passed in the blink of an eye, and Lin Moyu finally stopped. He had been drawing runes all this time, and the process of learning the inheritance was the process of drawing runes. The Saint Rune Heavenly Lord emphasized practice, and all theories were prepared for practice. According to the Saint Rune Heavenly Lord's philosophy, a rune master must continuously draw runes. When a rune has been drawn billions of times, even the least talented person will become proficient. The principle is that practice makes perfect, but the Saint Rune Heavenly Lord explained it in a more grandiose way. His philosophy also aligned with Lin Moyu's thoughts, as Lin Moyu also enjoyed practice. To outsiders, it seemed he had been in seclusion for 50 years, but to him, it had been a full 1200 years. Lin Moyu did not know how many runes he had drawn, countless. The vast space in the treasure ship's warehouse was half filled. In the space of the cultivation room, runes of various sizes and levels floated everywhere. The Tao poison has finally completely disappeared. I have also mastered all the rune knowledge below the ancient runes. 1200 years, time flies. Lin Moyu felt the changes in himself. This was his longest seclusion, and he felt as if he had aged significantly. 1200 years had left marks of time on him. Lin Moyu truly felt the power of time and understood what it meant to cultivate without the passage of time. For those at the God Lord level, seclusion for 1,000 years was commonplace. During seclusion, they used formations to accelerate time. After seclusion, the Great World would automatically correct the time, erasing the marks of time and not affecting their lifespan. Otherwise, with a lifespan of only 20,000 years, a seclusion of 1200 years would take up a significant portion. And his cultivation level had not improved at all, making such seclusion naturally not worthwhile. The time formation slowly stopped, and the flow of time returned to normal. The power of the Great World permeated enveloping Lin Moyu. 1200 years of rune cultivation had made Lin Moyu's soul even more sensitive than before. Lin Moyu could clearly feel the Great World helping him, erasing the marks of time. To the Great World, only 50 years had passed for him, not 1200 years. At this moment, Lin Moyu felt a sense of warmth. This feeling could only be sensed by someone with an extremely sensitive soul like him. To others, it would seem like an illusion. With a wave of his hand, countless runes in the cultivation room flew up simultaneously. Some disappeared, dissipating automatically, while others flew into Lin Moyu's hand and entered the treasure ship's warehouse. After 1200 years of living with runes day and night, Lin Moyu was extremely familiar with them, able to control them as easily as his own limbs. The ghost race should reappear. Lin Moyu murmured to himself, his eyes filled with a cold smile. A beam of light descended from above, and the cultivation room transformed, making Lin Moyu feel as if he were in the starry sky. Chapter 2127, 2127. Chapter 2127, Do What You Think Is Right. A grand battle unfolded right before Lin Moyu's eyes, and his pupils contracted sharply as he saw Lin Mohan. Big Sister is on the battlefield. The Human Emperor Network presented the battle from 20 years ago right in front of Lin Moyu. From the moment he saw Lin Mohan, Lin Moyu's attention was entirely focused on her, with nothing else in his mind. At this moment, he had only one thought: as long as Lin Mohan was safe. The outcome of the battle seemed unimportant. Lin Moyu realized that he was actually quite selfish. As long as Lin Mohan was unharmed, he didn't care about the lives of others. Is this human nature? Lin Moyu suddenly began to understand those heavenly lords. When the Great World was in good shape, the heavenly lords could do many things for it, even make some sacrifices. But when their own lives were at risk, the heavenly lords could become selfish. Whether it was the illusory mist heavenly lord or the Saint Rune heavenly lord, they could abandon even little mist to save themselves. And they found reasons to convince themselves. Lin Moyu realized that he too was selfish, but his selfishness was different from those heavenly lords who fled the Great World. He never thought of escaping the Great World, nor was he trying to save all of humanity within it. He was simply selfishly trying to do something for his family, his loved ones, and his friends. There were things he couldn't let go of here, so from the beginning, Lin Moyu had firmly chosen to stay. In the projection, the battle began, and Lin Mohan's opponent was none other than the Abyss Demon Lord. Lin Moyu's entire body tensed, and his relaxed muscles instantly tightened. Lin Mohan was actually facing the Abyss Demon Lord. Even though Lin Mohan had reached the Transcendent Realm, the Abyss Demon Lord was a Saint Lord. Lin Moyu wanted to ask why let Lin Mohan fight the Abyss Demon Lord? But Lin Moyu knew in his heart that since the Human Emperor Network was showing him this projection, Lin Mohan must be fine. In the image, Lin Mohan drew the Heaven and Earth sword, and in an instant, the projection became dazzling, with the sword light covering billions of miles of the starry sky. As Lin Mohan struck, the flames on the Abyss Demon Lord's body completely extinguished, revealing a look of terror. In the sword light, the Abyss Demon Lord was shattered into pieces. So strong. Lin Moyu was shocked. Lin Mohan's sword strike was incredibly powerful, almost absurdly so. What realm is my sister in? Lin Moyu knew his elder sister had always been strong, mainly in terms of her cultivation speed. He didn't expect that not only was her cultivation talent ridiculously strong, but her combat power was also absurdly high. In that instant, Lin Moyu felt that his sister's realm had already reached the Saint Lord level. The projection disappeared, and the voice of the Human Emperor Network sounded. Lin Mohan is currently at the early stage of the Transcendent Realm, with combat power comparable to a Saint Lord. This is something she asked someone to bring back for you. And she has a message for you. Lin Moyu asked, what is it? Suddenly, Lin Mohan's voice echoed around him. Little brother, don't worry about your elder sister. Just do what you think is right. This was the message Lin Mohan had someone bring back. From the voice to the tone, it had Lin Mohan's signature style. Lin Moyu pondered this message and asked, Did you tell her? The Human Emperor Network responded, yes, she has the right to know. Lin Moyu asked, didn't she say anything? The Human Emperor Network said, she said she believes in you. That's all. That's all. Lin Moyu suddenly laughed, that's just like my elder sister. Lin Mohan's reaction was exactly as he remembered her. Do what you think is right, meaning that no matter what choice he made, Lin Mohan would support him. It was also telling him that she would do what she thought was right. Lin Moyu took a deep breath, I understand. Is there anything else you need to tell me? There is. The Human Emperor Network once again projected an image, filled with information about the battle realm. This is the information obtained from the Heavenly Saint Lord's recent spirit journey. You can take a look. Lin Moyu nodded and began to carefully examine it. Mountain moving, sea dividing, earth splitting, sky patrolling, and the strongest, star. In addition, there was the legendary Battle Emperor. At the end of the Battle Realm information, the Human Emperor Network also included several possibilities it had analyzed. After reading, Lin Moyu couldn't help but murmur, it seems that no matter which outcome, it's not very good. The Human Emperor asked, what do you think? Lin Moyu said, I think if it's the second possibility, it would be the best outcome for us. The second possibility analyzed by the Human Emperor Network was that there were no heavenly lords in the battle realm, and their so-called Battle Emperor was just a peak supreme being. In this case, it would be much better than the first and third possibilities. If there were heavenly lords, the great world would have no chance at all. If the battle realm was a legacy left by a powerful being, it might attract that powerful being, and the great world would still be doomed. So Lin Moyu believed that if it was the second possibility, it would be the best outcome. Lin Moyu said, no matter which possibility, we can only take it one step at a time, do what we should do, and leave the rest to luck. The Human Emperor Network said, you're right. I have one more thing to tell you, and you can decide what to do. A star map unfolded, showing 6 scarlet points of light. After years of exploration, we have identified these 6 places as the 6 most dangerous ancient ruins. Based on the information we have, these 6 ancient ruins may contain the remains of peak supreme beings or even heavenly lords. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed, are you saying that heavenly lords died in ancient times? The Human Emperor Network said, based on the information we have, it is highly likely that heavenly lords died in battle. Lin Moyu had thought that all the heavenly lords had left, but it turned out that some had died in battle. It seemed that not all heavenly lords were selfish, some truly fought for the great world until their deaths. Lin Moyu said, you want me to go there and find the remains of a heavenly lord? The Human Emperor Network was straightforward, with your techniques, if you can obtain the remains of a heavenly lord, even if the Battle Emperor in the battle realm is a heavenly lord, we will have a chance. However, these 6 ruins are extremely dangerous. Saint lords have died in them before. Whether to go and when to go, it's up to you. Lin Moyu said, let me see the information on these 6 ruins, as well as other ancient ruins. I want all of it. The Human Emperor Network said, you already have access. You can view it at any time. The projection disappeared, and the Human Emperor Network also left. Lin Moyu did not move but began to examine the information on ancient ruins. Although the Human Emperor Network said it was up to him to decide whether to go, how could he not go? He definitely had to go, but when to go would depend on the situation. As Lin Moyu studied the information on ancient ruins, he gradually understood their origins. Ancient ruins were actually evolved from the rule worlds of supreme beings or heavenly lords. He had entered rule worlds of supreme beings more than once, but those rule worlds were intact, with orderly rules. However, the rule worlds of ancient ruins were shattered, losing control and becoming chaotic. Over the long years, the chaotic rule worlds continuously evolved, creating various dangers. The stronger the rule world, the more dangerous the evolved ruins. The 6 ruins were extremely dangerous because the rule worlds that evolved them were too strong. According to Lin Moyu's speculation, they must have been peak supreme beings' rule worlds, at the very least. One of them might even have been a heavenly lord's rule world, with unimaginable danger. By studying other ancient ruins, Lin Moyu made inferences about the 6 major ruins and had some understanding. Chapter 2128, 2128. Chapter 2128, Little Mist's Great Blessing. One day later, Lin Moyu left the cultivation room, and the Human Emperor Network intervened in reality, directly opening a teleportation for Lin Moyu. The Tao poison had dissipated, and Lin Moyu could once again engage in enlightenment. Using the power of enlightenment to cultivate the laws of time and space could save a lot of time. The laws of time and space cannot be cultivated within a time formation, so each advancement requires a significant amount of time. 1,000 years, even 2 or 3,000 years might not be enough. Lin Moyu didn't have that much time to waste. Now, less than 1,400 years remained until the arrival of the battle realm. Moreover, preparations needed to be made in advance, leaving Lin Moyu with only 500 or 600 years. Lin Moyu needed to eliminate the various races within these 500 or 600 years, achieve unification of the Great World, and then concentrate all efforts on facing the arrival of the battle realm. However, with the current strength of the human race, it was unlikely to eliminate the various races and truly unify the Great World. What Lin Moyu meant by elimination was not just defeating the various races but eradicating them from the Great World. Only by doing so could the karma within the Great World be reduced, maintaining a good state for the Great World. When the battle realm arrived, they could defeat it, plunder its essence, and use it to repair the Great World. With some luck, they might even establish a new path to divinity, allowing the saints within the Great World to ascend and achieve supremacy. Not only the saints but Lin Moyu himself as well. Only by walking the path to divinity, becoming a supreme being, and fully repairing the Great World rune could there be a chance for further advancement. This matter was interconnected, and none of the steps could be skipped. Eliminating the various races was a massive and complex plan that couldn't be leaked. If the races escaped to the outer domain, it would be impossible to sever the karma for the Great World, and nothing else could proceed. Lin Moyu traveled silently through deep space in a warship, leaving the human race without a sound. Except for Elder Star, the human emperor network, and a few saints, no one knew about Lin Moyu's departure. Lin Moyu's actions were now strictly confidential, almost becoming the highest secret of the human race. In the central divine palace of the divine city, Little Mist, who had just finished half an hour of cultivation, suddenly exclaimed, "Master has gone out again." The House Saint Lord smiled, "Yes, he's gone out again." Little Mist tilted her head, "Master doesn't play with me anymore. Although he doesn't make me do chores, it seems a bit boring." Little Mist seemed to miss the busy times before. Although she was busy, it was fulfilling. Watching those people pass through trials, whether they succeeded or failed, was quite interesting in retrospect. The House Saint Lord laughed, "Your master is too busy, he's doing great things." Little Mist's face was full of innocence. "What great things? Can Little Mist help?" The House Saint Lord said, "If Little Mist wants to help, you need to cultivate well. Only with a high enough realm can you help." Little Mist responded with an, "Oh," and immediately asked, "What realm do I need to reach?" The House Saint Lord thought for a moment, "The higher, the better." Little Mist seemed to understand, "The higher, the better. Do I need to be as high as the old master?" This made the House Saint Lord laugh. Little Mist's old master was a heavenly lord. How could such a being appear in the current world? Interestingly, since Little Mist reincarnated into a human, her intellect seemed to have regressed. Except for retaining some memories from her time as an artifact spirit, her personality was more like a child's. Especially after accepting the memories of her body's original owner, Little Mist felt she had just become a human, in the childhood stage of the human race, and should be playing. So she became what she is now, with a mature body but a child's mind, yet she understood everything. Sometimes, the knowledge she had was even more profound than that of the saints, and what she said could be incomprehensible to them. That knowledge came from the teachings of the Heavenly Lord, originally meant for supreme beings. However, Little Mist couldn't translate the Heavenly Lord's knowledge, feeling quite helpless. The House Saint Lord's casual remark about, "The higher, the better," was taken seriously by Little Mist. Little Mist suddenly said very seriously, "Then Little Mist will start cultivating too, to help Master in the future." With that, she put away her toys and began cultivating again. The House Saint Lord and the Heavenly Saint Lord exchanged smiles, finding it interesting and wondering how long Little Mist would persist this time. Little Mist was now a God King, at the 3rd level. Reaching the transcendent realm would take many years. The House Saint Lord laughed, "Let her play." In his eyes, Little Mist was like a junior, a very congenial little girl. Although the Heavenly Saint Lord wasn't as affectionate as the House Saint Lord, he also liked Little Mist. Suddenly, a unique aura of breakthrough surged from Little Mist, and she advanced from the 3rd level of the God King realm to the 4th level. The House Saint Lord laughed, "Such talent, breaking through a level in no time." The Heavenly Saint Lord said, "Little Mist is playful, but her cultivation talent far surpasses ours." The House Saint Lord agreed, indeed. Little Mist had been an artifact spirit for countless years, experiencing numerous teachings from the Heavenly Lord and even more from the Supreme Beings. Through these teachings, she absorbed an immense amount of knowledge in Tao rhythm. Each bit of Tao rhythm was a blessing, accumulating layer upon layer, becoming more and more abundant, making her exceptionally fortunate. After transforming into a human, Little Mist carried these blessings with her, becoming her strongest foundation. Despite playing all these years and not cultivating much, she had advanced from a true god to a god king. This speed had already surpassed most cultivators. Both the House Saint Lord and the Heavenly Saint Lord believed that Little Mist's cultivation talent was better than theirs. Just when the House Saint Lord thought Little Mist would stop cultivating, she continued without stopping, unlike before. Previously, Little Mist's cultivation sessions never exceeded 3 hours, and she would stop after a small breakthrough. This time, Little Mist seemed very determined. 3 days later, Little Mist's breakthrough aura surged again, advancing to the 5th level of the God King realm. Another 3 days passed, and she advanced to the 6th level. 4 days later, she reached the 7th level. The House Saint Lord and the Heavenly Saint Lord were stunned. 3 breakthroughs in 10 days, so what kind of cultivation speed was this? Moreover, they could see that Little Mist's foundation was solid, without any instability. The Heavenly Saint Lord frowned. Human Emperor, can you see what's going on? Although their vision was sharp, it was still inferior to the Human Emperor network. Especially here, the power of the Human Emperor network was extremely strong, capable of monitoring every change in aura. The Human Emperor network quickly responded, her soul contains powerful forces. Each breakthrough releases a bit of this power. The House Saint Lord suddenly understood, so that's it. It must be the power of the illusory mist Heavenly Lord. Only a Heavenly Lord could achieve this. Hiding power within the soul, releasing it during cultivation of this was beyond the current capabilities of the great world, achievable only by a Heavenly Lord. The Human Emperor network added, it's not just one type of power. The House Saint Lord was even more surprised, as this Little Mist's blessing. More than one Heavenly Lord helped her. The Heavenly Saint Lord sighed, it's truly enviable. Not only does she have a deep foundation, but she also has Heavenly Lords paving the way for her. Chapter 2129, 2129. Chapter 2129, don't even think about it, we don't have that luck. Little Mist's cultivation continued. After reaching the high-level God King realm, she advanced 1 level every 4 days. In just 12 days, Little Mist stepped into the lesser God realm. A phantom lost star river appeared above her head, then gradually descended to her feet. During this period, the power of the Heavenly Lord emerged from Little Mist's soul, helping her complete everything without her having to do anything herself. The House Saint Lord and the Heavenly Saint Lord were amazed, recalling the hardships of their own cultivation, filled with bitterness and tears. They realized that the gap between people was truly vast, so vast it made them want to cry. Little Mist's lost star river was very peculiar, something the 2 Saint Lords had never seen before. This lost star river was hazy and illusory, as if it didn't exist in this world, unlike any other lost star river. Other people's lost star rivers were filled with surging laws, like waves crashing. But Little Mist's lost star river was filled with vortices, countless vortices throughout the entire river. On the surface, it seemed calm, but underneath, there were hidden currents. Seeing these vortices, both Saint Lords felt a sense of horror, as if their souls were about to be sucked in. It was imaginable that the Lost Star River Little Mist comprehended was extremely terrifying. When the Lost Star River descended to her feet, a rune array suddenly appeared above Little Mist's head. This rune array was very intricate and extremely complex. The House Saint Lord exclaimed in surprise, discovering that Little Mist's soul contained a containment rune array. This containment rune array was countless times more intricate than those drawn by Lin Moyu. Needless to say, the containment rune array was the handiwork of the Saint Rune Heavenly Lord. The containment rune array unfolded, and a large amount of clear spring water gushed out, transforming into a fine mist that fell on Little Mist. The fine mist entered Little Mist's body, rapidly strengthening her physical body, quickly breaking through the God King realm, continuously advancing, and rapidly approaching the Soul realm. The 2 Saint Lords exchanged glances, seeing a bitter taste in each other's eyes. Needless to say, this was another method prepared by the Heavenly Lord for Little Mist. As long as Little Mist broke through to the lesser God realm, this method would activate, helping her break through. Such treatment, throughout history, only Little Mist had received. But it wasn't over yet. Another rune flew out, also a containment rune array. The containment rune array unfolded, releasing a vast amount of rule power. Vaguely, the House Saint Lord and the Heavenly Saint Lord saw a rule world. The rule world was extremely powerful, so powerful that its rule power made it hard for the two to breathe. The central divine palace trembled continuously due to the vast rule power, as if it might collapse at any moment. Countless formations in the palace began to operate, and the human emperor network directly intervened in reality to help stabilize the palace. The House Saint Lord exclaimed in shock, "This is rule refinement." The Heavenly Lord not only helped Little Mist enhance her physical body but also directly used a Heavenly Lord level rule world for her refinement. The Heavenly Saint Lord said, "This blessing is even stronger than Lin Moyu's." In this era, the only person who could undergo rule refinement was Lin Moyu, and now there was another. Little Mist was completely unaware of this, having entered a state of selflessness, following her instincts. Her whole body began to emit a purple gold light, and in this passive state, Little Mist completed the cultivation of the purple gold body. Then, she slowly stood up, eyes closed, and took a step into the Lost Star River. Like Lin Moyu, Little Mist directly used her physical body to enter the Star River, merging with the Lost Star River, thereby leaping into the God realm. Once successful, Little Mist would become the second person in this era to perfectly step into the God realm. Little Mist stood in the Lost Star River, surrounded by vortices. The vortices continuously pulled at Little Mist, but she remained unmoved, her aura growing stronger, advancing towards the God realm. Around her, there was a trace of power that did not belong to Little Mist, resisting the pull of the vortices. It was still the power of the Heavenly Lord, who had thought of everything for Little Mist. In just 1 hour, Little Mist completed her breakthrough, her body beginning to emit the aura of the God realm. The Lost Star River also gradually solidified, representing Little Mist's official entry into the God realm. At this moment, another rune flew out, landing directly on Little Mist's forehead. Little Mist let out a soft hum, sat down in the Lost Star River, and continued her cultivation. This change left the two Saint Lords completely bewildered, not knowing what had happened. If Lin Moyu were here, he would know that this last rune was the unique inheritance rune created by the Saint Rune Heavenly Lord. The inheritance rune contained a complete inheritance, which Little Mist could accept in a very short time. The Lost Star River finally disappeared, and the central divine palace stopped trembling. In just over 20 days, Little Mist had advanced from the 3rd level of the God King realm to the 1st level of the God realm. This speed was enough to shock countless people. The two Saint Lords looked at each other, their eyes filled with shock and bitterness. The more they looked at Little Mist, the more they felt their own misfortune. The Heavenly Lord had been too good to Little Mist, preparing everything perfectly. It was imaginable that Little Mist's future cultivation would not be slow. But this also showed how terrifying the power of the Heavenly Lords was. Such near miraculous methods were beyond the comprehension of ordinary people. It seemed they could create gods at will. No wonder in ancient times, gods were not even qualified to be cannon fodder. What the Heavenly Lords created at will was nothing extraordinary. The House Saint Lord sighed, "Don't even think about it, we don't have that luck." The Heavenly Saint Lord said, "I'm not thinking about it, I'm just curious about what laws Little Mist comprehended. Just ask her when she wakes up, I'm curious too." After about a month of travel, Lin Moyu finally reached his destination. This time, he chose a small race in the peripheral area, called the White Stone Clan. In the Great World, there are 12 races, all stone-based life forms, collectively known as the Stone Clan. Because they are all stone-based life forms, they band together and formed an alliance early on. The strongest among the Stone Clan is the Black Stone Clan, which is also the leader of this stone-based alliance. The Black Stone Clan has a Saint Lord, several transcendent beings, and combined with the transcendent beings from other stone-based races, the entire Stone Clan alliance can be considered a strong race. However, it is still just an alliance, different from a single race. Lin Moyu chose the weakest among them, the White Stone Clan, which also had no transcendent beings. Arriving at the edge of the White Stone Clan's star domain, Lin Moyu retracted his warship and looked at the starry sky of the White Stone Clan. Here, white planets floated, covered in minerals, with few metals, mainly composed of stone. Many of these planets were taken from the human race 10,000 years ago. While taking these planets, the White Stone Clan also massacred many humans. The White Stone Clan was not strong, never had been throughout history. However, the slaughter they caused was no less than other races, as they killed ordinary people. The White Stone clan was generally very large, and humans appeared like ants to them, easily crushed underfoot. Weak races targeted weak humans, equally cruel. Karma has its retribution. The seeds sown in the past must be reaped now. The demon race has set up barriers in various races, and the abyssal eye demons are monitoring. I wonder if they can detect me. With a thought, a rune flew out from the treasure ship's warehouse. The rune was extremely complex, formed by the fusion of several high-level runes. The rune exploded, transforming into a mist that enveloped Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu's figure gradually faded in the mist until he disappeared. Chapter 2130, 2130. Chapter 2130, Upgraded Containment Rune Array. Concealment Rune. This is not merely invisibility but true disappearance. The great world is filled with countless lines of laws. After using the Concealment Rune, Lin Moyu hides within these laws. His aura, his soul fluctuations, and all his movements blend with the laws. In this state, even if Lin Moyu takes action, the opponent may not be able to sense it. In the inheritance of the Saint Rune Heavenly Lord, the Concealment Rune is a high-level rune, second only to the Void Concealment Rune. The Void Concealment Rune is an ancient rune that Lin Moyu cannot yet draw. After using the Concealment Rune, Lin Moyu entered the territory of the White Stone clan and encountered the barrier set up by the demon race. The barrier formed a bubble-like membrane in the starry sky, enveloping the entire White Stone clan. This huge barrier was actually composed of many smaller barriers combined. The demon race has invested heavily this time. I don't know how many years of accumulation they used. Setting up barriers for over 100 races, the demon race truly invested a lot. The barriers couldn't be set up out of thin air and required a large amount of manpower and resources. Lin Moyu reached out and touched the barrier, then passed through it effortlessly. There was no need to adjust the power frequency because countless laws already passed through the barrier, and the barrier itself relied on these laws to exist. At this moment, Lin Moyu was fused with the laws, so the barrier naturally couldn't stop him. The barrier had no reaction and did not trigger any alarms. Lin Moyu entered the barrier and flew towards the nearest star system. This star system was not large, with only one star and 3 white planets, belonging to a small star system. The 3 planets had no distinction between life planets and resource planets. For stone-based life forms, these mineral-rich planets were the best living areas. Even a planet lush with green trees would be transformed into a stone-only planet in their hands. Lin Moyu did not sense the presence of a god lord. The White Stone clan was not strong, and they didn't have many god lords, unable to station them in every star system. It might also be because they trusted the demon race's barrier too much, so they didn't station god lords in the peripheral star systems. But for Lin Moyu, it didn't matter whether there were god lords or not. In the dark starry sky, a rune suddenly flew out. This rune was extremely complex and 3-dimensional, enough to give even a god lord a headache. It wasn't an ancient rune, but it was very close to one. If the Saint Rune Heavenly Lord or House Saint Lord were present, they would recognize that this rune was actually a rune array, a containment rune array. However, compared to the containment rune array Lin Moyu had used before, this one was more refined and powerful. After 1200 years of seclusion, Lin Moyu's understanding of runes had far surpassed before. The containment rune array had been continuously strengthened and improved, now becoming increasingly powerful, even showing signs of developing towards an ancient rune. In the inheritance of the Saint Rune Heavenly Lord, it was clearly stated that any rune array could continuously evolve and upgrade. In fact, many rune arrays were very weak when first created and evolved through continuous improvement. Most rune arrays' ultimate goal of evolution and upgrade was to become ancient runes. However, the Saint Rune Heavenly Lord did not tell Lin Moyu the method of evolution for those rune arrays. He only provided the most basic rune arrays in the inheritance. How to evolve and upgrade them was left to the inheritor to figure out and do themselves. 10,000 rune masters might draw 10,000 different containment rune arrays, each with varying strengths. Every rune master had their own areas of expertise and would generally choose to upgrade and strengthen rune arrays in their areas of expertise. Just like every teacher hopes their students can forge their own paths, truly surpassing their predecessors. Lin Moyu also strengthened and upgraded the containment rune array based on his own understanding and techniques. At this moment, the containment rune array had a larger internal space and was more solid. Its internal space was like an independent world, capable of hosting a large-scale battle. After the containment rune array flew out, it silently unfolded in the starry sky, enveloping the entire star system. Then another rune flew out. This rune was a fusion rune composed of several high-level runes, called the mirror image rune. Originally, it created a layer of illusion, forming a mirage-like effect. After Lin Moyu's modifications and upgrades, the mirror image rune could create a mirror image as large as a star system. The star system was swallowed by the containment rune array and disappeared, but in the next second, an identical star system appeared. The original star system was taken away, replaced by the mirror image. On the surface, the star system still existed. At least from a distance, it looked the same. From billions of kilometers away, one couldn't see any changes in the star system. Only by getting close would one discover that the planets in the star system had stopped moving. They had become a static scene, motionless in the starry sky. In the center of the star system, a huge eye continuously scanned the starry sky. This was the abyssal eye demon placed by the demon race in the White Stone clan, continuously monitoring the starry sky. At the moment the containment rune array took away the star system, it seemed to sense something and immediately looked over. But by then, the mirror image rune had already taken effect, and it didn't notice anything unusual. Through the Zimu ancestral tree, the human high command already knew all the movements of the various races and the abyssal eye demons placed by the demon race. Naturally, Lin Moyu could think of a way to counter it. The combination of the mirror image rune and the containment rune array was his solution. From the current results, the effect was excellent. Inside the star system taken by the containment rune array, the White Stone clan members seemed to sense something was wrong but couldn't pinpoint what it was. Then, countless mists rose and quickly spread. Where did this mist come from? Our planet doesn't even have water, how can there be mist? What is this? How can there be flames? In the mist, countless flames erupted, burning the ground and roasting life. Then, a large number of hell fiends rushed over, opening their terrifying jaws and tearing the White Stone clan members to pieces. Screams echoed, continuously resounding in the space of the containment rune array. From the moment they were enveloped by the Hell of Bones, these White Stone clan members were doomed to die, with no chance of survival. They couldn't escape, nor could they send any information outside. They could only struggle and tremble in hell, waiting for death to come. The Hell Fiends tore their bodies apart, and the Hell Flames burned them into liquid, which finally merged into the river of Hellfire, becoming nourishment for it. Too weak, Lin Moyu watched without joy or sorrow. He had no emotional fluctuations. This was not the first time he had done such a thing. Watching death unfold before his eyes, his mind was filled with the image of his sister's stunning sword strike. The siblings, the elder sister slaying a saint lord, the younger brother severing karma. This feeling was quite peculiar. Do what you think is right. Repeating his sister's words, Lin Moyu knew what he needed to do now. Bullying the weak and wanton killing were just trivial matters in the face of the survival of races in the great world. Moments later, the White Stone clan members in this star system were completely wiped out, and the star system was packed up and taken away by the containment rune array. In the starry sky, the mirror image still existed, not disappearing. The upgraded mirror image rune could last for many years. As long as no one got close, no problems would be discovered. Chapter 2131, 2131. Chapter 2131. It seems I need to visit the battlefield again. The first battle using runes went very smoothly, deceiving the abyssal demon eye. The demon's barrier had no effect at all, just as Lin Moyu had predicted. The upgraded containment formation and mirror runes worked together perfectly, with surprisingly good results. Next, Lin Moyu went to other star systems, using the same method to package and take away the star systems one by one. From start to finish, the abyssal demon eye had no reaction at all. The demon's strongest monitoring method was rendered useless before Lin Moyu. Once, Lin Moyu even flew past within 1,000,000 kilometers of the abyssal demon eye, and it still failed to detect him. The concealment rune was extremely effective, even nullifying the abyssal demon eye that demons had always prided themselves on. 1,000,000 kilometers is an extremely close distance in space. At his current speed, taking one step covers 50 million kilometers, so 1,000,000 kilometers is really nothing. To monitor the entire star region, the abyssal demon eye was positioned at the center of the White Stone race's star region, very far from all the star systems. Even the closest was over 100 million kilometers away. At this distance, Lin Moyu felt the abyssal demon eye had no way of detecting the mirror runes. The reality was indeed as he thought. When he packaged and took away the nearest star system, leaving behind mirror runes, the abyssal demon eye still had no reaction. This made Lin Moyu even more at ease, and his actions gradually became bolder, with increasing speed. While Lin Moyu was taking action, the 100 Race Alliance was also gathering. They planned to launch another attack against the human race. After 20 years of recuperation following the repeated major battles with humans, their momentum had finally recovered somewhat. Most importantly, the Abyssal Demon Lord's true body had finally arrived on the battlefield 5 years ago. The Abyssal Demon Lord said he had been refining a magical treasure before, which was why he had been using his first avatar all along. Now that the Abyssal Demon Lord's true body had arrived, it meant that magical treasure had been fully refined, and the Abyssal Demon Lord's combat powers should have increased significantly. Still at the Vermilion Bird Star region battlefield, the 100 Race Alliance's army began to gather again. Several Saint Venerables who had been fighting humans in other star regions also rushed over. The number of Saint Venerables in the 100 Race Alliance increased to 5. The Demon race had the Abyssal Demon Lord and the Magma Demon Lord. The Golden Eagle race, besides the Black Gold Saint Venerable, also had a Dark Gold Saint Venerable who came over. The Bull Demon race still had the Blood Bull Saint Venerable. His injuries had fully healed. Last time, he had half his body cut off by the Sword Saint Venerable and his soul was also somewhat damaged. He had been recuperating since then, and now he had finally recovered. 5 Saint Venerables, leading over 100 Transcendents and a billion troops, began to gather again. The battlefield was boiling with fighting spirit. The unusual aura could be felt across several light years. The 100 Race Alliance seemed determined to get back up where they had fallen. Their actions were naturally grasped by the human race, who also began to move in response. Large numbers of troops came to reinforce. Compared to the 100 Race Alliance, the human army's momentum was even stronger. Over these years, the human race had more victories than defeats, using the various races to train their troops. Both morale and combat power had greatly increased. There were many more God Venerables in the army, with many lesser God Venerables successfully advancing to become full God Venerables. There were even peak God Venerables who gained insights during battle and broke through to become half-step Transcendents. They opened the blood path to Transcendence, using the power of the battlefield to engage in slaughter, helping themselves cross the starry river to reach Transcendence. Years of great wars had not weakened the human race, instead, they grew stronger with each battle. This also made the various races realize how terrifying the human race was. Many felt that since they couldn't exterminate the human race 100,000 years ago, it would be impossible to do so now. Both sides were preparing their troops and supplies, getting ready for the great battle that would erupt soon. Meanwhile, Lin Moyu had already silently left the White Stone race and headed to another stone-type lifeform race's star region, the Earth Stone race. The Earth Stone race was slightly stronger than the White Stone race, but only by a little, not by much. They had a larger population and more God Venerables, but still no Transcendents. In Lin Moyu's view, among the stone-type lifeform races, except for the strongest Black Stone race, the others were all about the same. It wouldn't take much effort for him to crush them. Only the Black Stone race was an exception. They had 3 Transcendent Realm experts, so he didn't want to provoke them for now. After leaving the White Stone race, Lin Moyu unexpectedly discovered that the aura of enlightenment had not descended. Lin Moyu realized that the White Stone race had not been completely wiped out. A large number of White Stone race members had gone to the front lines. As long as they were still alive, the karmic ties of the Great World were not severed, so naturally, he couldn't receive the reward. It seems I need to visit the battlefield again. But before that, I'll accumulate a bit more. Lin Moyu thought for a moment, and a rune flew out from the treasure ship's warehouse. Over 1,200 years, the treasure ship's warehouse had been filled with runes, too many to count. There were all kinds of runes. Lin Moyu only needed to move his thoughts slightly to use them directly, without needing to draw the runes again. This was also one of the battle methods of rune masters in ancient times. Otherwise, with battles changing in an instant, how could one have time to draw runes on the spot? Unless one could reach the state described by the Rune Saint Venerable, where a single thought could generate 10,000 runes. This was a legendary realm that even the Rune Saint Venerable himself hadn't fully achieved, let alone others. After the rune flew out, it attached to Lin Moyu's forehead. A stream of consciousness was transmitted into it, and then the rune transformed into a sharp sword, flashed with a faint light, and disappeared. This rune was called the Flying Sword Rune, not used for battle, but for transmitting information. The speed of the Flying Sword Rune was extremely fast, with almost no limit depending on the level of the rune maker. The Flying Sword Rune could not only transmit one's own information but also bring back information. In ancient times, many rune masters used flying sword runes to communicate with each other, which was highly efficient. Compared to the human emperor network, each had its advantages and disadvantages. Lin Moyu didn't wait for the flying sword rune but instead infiltrated the Earth Stone race's star region again, beginning to sever karmic ties. Just one day later, on the battlefield of the Vermilion Bird Star region, a faint light kept flickering and jumping, entering the human camp, and then appearing before the rune Saint Venerable. The rune Saint Venerable had arrived here a few days ago, along with the kill Saint Venerable. At this moment, on the human side, there were the Sword Saint Venerable, the War Saint Venerable, the Kill Saint Venerable, the Rune Saint Venerable, and Lin Mohan. With 5 Saint Venerable level combat powers, they were evenly matched with the Saint Venerables of the 100 Race Alliance. Seeing the suddenly appearing flying sword rune, the Rune Saint Venerable was somewhat surprised. Because of the existence of the Human Emperor network, people who still used sword runes to communicate were now very rare. He received the flying sword rune, and Lin Moyu's voice immediately sounded in his mind. Rune Saint Venerable, may I ask which battlefield the stone-type races are located on? The Rune Saint Venerable hadn't expected the flying sword rune to come from Lin Moyu and was slightly surprised, but he quickly understood what Lin Moyu was doing. Indeed, given Lin Moyu's position, he couldn't connect to the Human Emperor network, so using a flying sword rune was indeed the best method. Moreover, with Lin Moyu's level of rune mastery, the speed of the flying sword rune would be incredibly fast. He immediately infused the information he knew into the flying sword rune, and it disappeared in an instant. The Kill Saint Venerable saw this and asked in a low voice, "What happened?" The Rune Saint Venerable said, "It was young friend Lin asking for some intelligence. I've already given it to him. How are your preparations this time?" The Kill Saint Venerable sneered, "Don't worry, just watch how I'll slay the Black Gold Saint Venerable." The Rune Saint Venerable said, "Although the Black Gold Saint Venerable was defeated by the War Saint Venerable last time, that was because of the War God's spear. His actual strength is very powerful." The Kill Saint Venerable said, "In the past, perhaps I wasn't his match. But now, I can definitely slay him." He turned his head slightly to look behind him. Behind him floated a faint, ethereal mist, within which cold light flickered faintly. Chapter 2132, 2132. Chapter 2132, You fight yours, I'll fight mine. In the Earth Stone Race's star region, the same thing was happening as in the White Stone Race. One star system after another was silently disappearing. The abyssal demon eye placed in the star region did not detect anything. The star systems looked extremely calm on the surface, but internally, they had undergone significant changes. Lin Moyu moved very quickly, taking away and annihilating one star system after another. 2 days later, a flying sword rune flashed by and returned to Lin Moyu's hand, bringing back the needed intelligence. After reading it, Lin Moyu felt confident. So, the stone-type races have all gone to the White Tiger Star region battlefield, which is not too far. The Vermilion Bird Star region will have another great battle, both sides are mobilizing their troops, and the battle is expected to take place in a year. Both sides have invested a large number of troops in this battle, causing the other 3 battlefields to be relatively empty. The Saint Venerables must have all left, and at most, there will be 1 or 2 transcendents left behind. It seems I also need to take this opportunity to sever the karmic ties. A year is a short time, and the time left for Lin Moyu was not long. Lin Moyu already had a plan in mind. He used another flying sword rune to inquire about other matters. Acting alone has its advantages: a small target, freedom, and less likelihood of being discovered. However, acting alone also has its drawbacks: no intelligence support, and many things can go wrong. Fortunately, with the flying sword rune, he could quickly get intelligence from the Rune Saint Venerable. After sending several flying sword runes, Lin Moyu's plan became complete. A month later, Lin Moyu left the Earth Stone Race and went to the Yellow Stone Race. He still acted silently, without causing any waves. 6 months later, Lin Moyu left the Stone-type races, having silently wiped out 5 races. On the surface, the star systems were still intact, and the abyssal demon eye did not detect anything. Perhaps because the front lines were preparing for a great battle, the attention of the various races was focused on the Vermilion Bird Star region, and no one paid attention to the rear. These people did not know that their homes had already been stolen. As the great battle approached, the intensity of the battles on the other three fronts significantly decreased. Lin Moyu entered another race, the Sand Race. The Sand Race was somewhat similar to the Stone-type races but also different. The Sand Race was also divided into several small races, and Lin Moyu selected a few weak ones to annihilate. The races he selected had one thing in common: their troops were all deployed in the White Tiger Star region. After wiping out 2 sand races, he did not receive the Great World's Rune reward because he did not kill all the members. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry. He left the Sand Race and went to another race. A year passed quickly, and the great battle between the 100 Race Alliance and the human race erupted again. On a battlefield 100 light-years away from the Vermilion Bird Star region, the armies of both sides were aggressively arrayed. Although the human race was outnumbered, their momentum could crush the enemy. Several Saint Venerables faced each other from afar, each locking onto their opponent. The Abyssal Demon Lord sneered at Lin Mohan, "Last time you killed my avatar, this time I will kill you." Lin Mohan's voice was pleasant and crisp like a sword cutting through, "This time I will kill your true body." The Abyssal Demon Lord laughed heartily, "Good, let me see how capable you are." The Sword Saint Venerable faced the Blood Bull Saint Venerable again, but this time the Blood Bull Saint Venerable seemed prepared, wearing an extraordinary set of armor. The War Saint Venerable changed opponents, and the Dark Gold Saint Venerable of the Golden Eagle race actively locked onto him. The Kill Saint Venerable locked onto the Black Gold Saint Venerable, and the Rune Saint Venerable faced the Magma Demon Lord. The Saint Venerables had allocated their opponents, and the great battle was about to erupt. Meanwhile, 70 light-years away from the White Tiger Star region, another 100 Race Alliance army was stationed. Compared to the Vermilion Bird Star region, this place was much quieter and had fewer troops. A large number of troops had been transferred to the Vermilion Bird battlefield, leaving less than 1 billion troops here. Moreover, the strength was weaker, with most being God Kings, and less than 10,000 God Venerables. There were only 2 Transcendents. At this time, their attention was mostly focused on the Vermilion Bird battlefield, as the battle there was crucial for the 100 Race Alliance. The last major defeat had greatly damaged their morale, and it took many years to recover. If they failed again this time, the consequences were unimaginable, and the alliance might even be shaken. After all, the 100 races had their own agendas and could not be as united as the human race. As they waited, suddenly, alarms sounded. Barriers activated automatically, and warships began firing. Whoosh, 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 countless vines lashed down, shattering the barriers. Countless warships were smashed to pieces by the vines, and a large number of 100 Race Alliance soldiers died on the spot. What is this? Heavens, what a big tree! Why is space sealed? A giant tree, 1,000,000 meters tall, appeared in the starry sky. The tree appeared suddenly, without any warning. As soon as it appeared, it attacked, giving the 100 Race Alliance no chance to react. The terrifying aura of a transcendent realm expert spread through the starry sky, causing everyone below the God Venerable realm to tremble and be unable to move. Even God Venerables felt extremely uncomfortable. Many instinctively wanted to escape, but space was sealed when the giant tree appeared, making it impossible to leave. Damn it, it's the starry sky giant tree. Why is it here, and why is it attacking us? 2 roars sounded, and 2 transcendents charged out. The starry sky giant tree swung countless vines at them. The vines shattered the starry sky, arriving in an instant, and directly knocked the 2 away. As a transcendent, the starry sky giant tree's combat power surpassed most transcendents. Only some strong transcendents could match the starry sky giant tree. With just one move, the 2 were suppressed by the starry sky giant tree, unable to fight back. Countless vines surrounded them, and their eyes filled with despair as they felt death approaching. The 2 transcendents came from different races. They were stationed here and did not participate in the Vermilion Bird Star region battle. Originally, they were lucky, as it was normal for transcendents to die in such a great battle. Last time, several transcendents died. But who would have thought that the starry sky giant tree would suddenly appear and launch a deadly attack? With the transcendents suppressed, the others fared worse. God Venerables could not withstand the starry sky giant tree's attacks, and even peak God Venerables could only hold out for a short time. Lower-level god venerables were almost instantly killed. In just a few minutes, the entire garrison was completely scattered, and everyone was desperately trying to escape. Unfortunately, space was sealed, and now it was just a matter of who could fly faster. Mist appeared out of thin air, silently covering 100 billion kilometers of starry sky. Hellfire boiled continuously, and hellish spirits rampaged through the starry sky, with over 1 billion hellish spirits killing and devouring all the 100 Race Alliance members, leaving none alive. Lin Moyu appeared in the starry sky, watching this scene with cold eyes. He was surrounded by the aura of origin spells. He used the resurrection of the dead to revive the starry sky giant tree. With his realm, it was possible to provoke the starry sky giant tree's resistance. However, Lin Moyu had a plan. He first used origin spells to forcibly raise his realm to the peak of the god Venerable realm. In this state, the probability of the starry sky giant tree resisting was minimized. The starry sky giant tree did not resist and became a resurrected entity. Then, the starry sky giant tree acted first to see if it could suppress the two transcendents stationed there. And to see if there were any hidden forces. The starry sky giant tree did not disappoint him, easily suppressing the two transcendents. The bone hell followed, forming a deadly trap. Chapter 2133, 2133. Chapter 2133, A Broken Skull. 100 million troops were slaughtered in less than an hour, becoming food for the bone hell. Only 2 transcendent realm experts remained, struggling under the attacks of the starry sky giant tree, but they couldn't hold on for much longer. Lin Moyu stood in space, and a strange aura descended. The Great World's rune reward had arrived, more intense than any previous time. This reward was different from before. In the past year, Lin Moyu had eliminated 10 races, and now 10 rewards merged into one, descending together. The enlightenment aura was at least 10 times more concentrated than before. Lin Moyu knew he was about to enter an enlightenment state, which might last for some time. He quickly gave final orders to the starry sky giant tree, then took out his warship and entered deep space, flying towards the human race's star region. Just seconds after entering the warship, Lin Moyu fell into the enlightenment state. Without the influence of the Tao poison, this enlightenment was extremely effective, rapidly deepening his understanding of the laws of time and space. On the White Tiger Star region battlefield, the 2 transcendent realm experts let out miserable screams almost simultaneously, shredded by the starry sky giant tree. The starry sky giant tree wove an impenetrable net, carrying the 2 shattered corpses, and disappeared according to Lin Moyu's instructions. The space that had been occupied by over 100 million troops just moments ago suddenly became empty and desolate, permeated with the aura of death. In the distant space, a dark green flame suddenly lit up, with a demon eye within it. The demon eye revealed unbelievable terror, while also emitting a scream. At the same time, in the star systems of the White Stone race, Earth Stone race, Sand race, the mirror runes dissipated simultaneously, revealing the true situation of space. Accompanied by the sharp cries of the abyssal demon eyes. On the other side, on the Vermilion Bird battlefield, the abyssal demon lord suddenly trembled. He roared in anger, "This is impossible." Just as the battle was about to begin, the abyssal demon lord's sudden roar was too abrupt. Everyone looked over, and the magma demon lord asked loudly, "What happened?" The abyssal flames on the abyssal demon lord's body became even more intense, representing his current emotional state, which was extremely agitated. The abyssal demon lord spoke in a low voice, gritting his teeth, "Nothing." The other Saint Venerables saw this and knew something must have happened, but with the great battle imminent, no matter what happened, it had to wait until after the battle. At this moment, the Rune Saint Venerable suddenly laughed, "Your garrison in the White Tiger Star region has been wiped out." Upon hearing this, the allied army immediately fell into slight chaos. There were many in the army who had come from the White Tiger Star region, and hearing this, they all showed disbelief. The abyssal demon lord roared, "Don't listen to his nonsense, prepare for battle." The magma demon lord's eyes turned, and he suddenly let out an angry roar, clashing his fists together, exploding with surging flames that swept through space. The Rune Saint Venerable waved his hand, and an ancient rune flew out and exploded in the air. The ancient rune transformed into a starry river, with countless waves swallowing the flames. As soon as the two began fighting, it signaled the start of the great battle. The human army erupted in roars that shook space, and numerous war fortresses launched attacks one after another. Formations intertwined, launching fierce attacks. The human race fought fiercely, disregarding defense, using force to subdue the enemy. The 100-race alliance counterattacked simultaneously, but since they came from different races, they fought individually, appearing less orderly and unified than the human race. The Transcendent Realm experts each found their opponents, engaging in battle millions of miles apart. The Saint Venerables were even further away, as ordinary soldiers could not withstand the aftershocks of their battles. The Abyssal Demon Lord once again faced Lin Mohan, but this time it was his true body. Last time you destroyed my avatar, this time my true body will tear you to pieces. Lin Mohan's expression was cold, beautiful but filled with killing intent. Today I will destroy you once again. In an instant, sword light scattered through space, immediately illuminating the starry sky. Origin fire. The Abyssal Demon Lord roared, and the abyssal flames on his body violently boiled, while a hint of purple appeared within the abyssal flames. The Abyssal Demon Lord's aura rose sharply, his power continuously increasing. With the enhancement of the Origin spell, the Abyssal Demon Lord's combat power at least doubled. Lin Mohan's brows furrowed slightly. Origin power. The Abyssal Demon Lord laughed loudly. You have some knowledge. Later, I will slowly burn you to death, burning you to ashes inch by inch. He took out something resembling a skull, which emitted an ancient aura, bearing the marks of time. Flames erupted from the two eye sockets of the skull, looking extremely ferocious. Seeing the skull, Lin Mohan's brows furrowed even more. The skull in the Abyssal Demon Lord's hand was an ancient treasure, and its grade was very likely to have surpassed the Saint Venerable level, reaching the Supreme Realm. Previously, the Abyssal Demon Lord had been refining it, which was why his true body couldn't move and only his avatar could act outside. He had been refining this treasure for many years and had finally completed the initial refinement. The Abyssal Demon Lord sneered, "You're dead for sure." Lin Mohan said nothing, simply slashing out with her sword decisively. Spell. Sword/void. Sword light engulfed heaven and earth, and the nearby Saint Venerables all felt the terror of the sword light, their skin stinging. Billions of miles away, the Transcendent Realm experts all spat blood, injured by the sword light despite being so far away. Some Transcendent Realm experts were even further away and escaped unscathed, laughing loudly. If I had known it would be like this, I would have stayed far away from the beginning. Those Transcendent Realm experts who were injured by the sword light were all newcomers this time. Anyone who had experience from last time stayed as far away as possible this time. Lin Mohan's sword was far more terrifying than their own opponents. The Abyssal Demon Lord laughed coldly and activated the skull in his hand. The skull immediately erupted with towering flames, and a skull at least 1,000,000 meters tall appeared in space. The skull spewed green flames, pushing the power of the abyssal flames to the extreme. The sword light was dissolved by the flames, quickly dissipating. The Abyssal Demon Lord laughed loudly, the treasure of a supreme, truly formidable. Is that so? A broken skull, what's so formidable about it? Lin Mohan sneered, suddenly pointing her sword tip at the Abyssal Demon Lord. More precisely, the sword tip was pointing at the undying skull in the Abyssal Demon Lord's hand. The heaven and earth sword hummed, and a faint light shone from its tip. Bang! The undying skull exploded on the spot, and the giant skull in space simultaneously burst apart. The flames that were originally spewing out reversed course, actually falling onto the Abyssal Demon Lord. How is this possible? The Abyssal Demon Lord was stunned for half a second, not knowing what had happened. Then, a terrifying explosion engulfed him. Boom, boom, boom. The rumbling continued, with explosions occurring one after another. The Abyssal Demon Lord was originally enveloped in abyssal flames, and now with the new flames sweeping over, the two types of flames were completely incompatible, like cold water falling into boiling oil, immediately causing a violent reaction. The Abyssal Demon Lord screamed incessantly, clearly injured in the explosion. Amidst the screams, a illusory world appeared above the Abyssal Demon Lord's head. His rule world emerged, deep and dark, filled with abyssal flames everywhere. Abyssal flames poured out from the rule world. The Abyssal Demon Lord wanted to use his rule flames to suppress the flames of the undying skull. Lin Mohan wouldn't give him this opportunity. She took out a pill and threw it into her mouth, quickly recovering her depleted power. The sword light lit up again, accompanied by Lin Mohan's shout. Sword/void. Chapter 2134, 2134. Chapter 2134. No wonder she dared to meditate on the battlefield. Deep in the Abyssal Demon Lord's rule world, even more intense abyssal flames erupted, intertwining with the origin fire. Along with the flames from the exploding undying skull, they formed a three-colored blaze. The three-colored flames were beautiful, but unfortunately incompatible and unable to harmonize. Continuous explosions caused the abyssal demon lord immense pain. Screams and roars intertwined, forming an extremely strange sound. At this moment, Lin Mohan's sword arrived. Sword energy swept through space, shattering the entire area. Even the chaotic flows in deep space were annihilated by the sword energy. This sword transcended spatial boundaries, shattering space and directly striking the world barrier, causing it to flash with light. The abyssal demon lord shrieked as magical treasures flew out from his rule world one after another, transforming into boundless demonic realms in space. For a time, demonic aura boiled over. But it was useless. Wherever the sword light reached, demonic energy was extinguished. Magical treasures shattered in space one after another, unable to withstand it at all. The abyssal demon lord retreated rapidly, using his rule world as a shield. The rule world is a Saint Venerable's strongest trump card, a killing move only used in desperate situations. Its power is unmatched, and using it as a shield is extremely effective. Sword energy struck the rule world, immediately causing large cracks to appear in the abyssal demon lord's rule world. Countless abyssal flames poured out, enveloping hundreds of millions of miles of space. Space was dyed a dark green color, looking extremely bizarre. Nearby transcendents watched this scene in shock, feeling that if they were in that sea of fire, they probably wouldn't last long. But Lin Mohan stood in the sea of fire, completely unperturbed. She held her sword intent radiating and forming a sphere of light that protected her from any harm. Sword light flashed as Lin Mohan struck again. The sword's momentum was terrifying, parting the waters and splitting the sea, forcefully cleaving the sea of fire in two. Another scream rang out as the sea of fire exploded, abyssal flames blasting in all directions. The transcendents' faces changed drastically as they shouted, "Quick, run!" Even a tiny bit of the abyssal demon lord's abyssal flames would badly burn them if not kill them outright. Lin Mohan could ignore it, but these transcendents couldn't. They fled as fast as they could. Lin Mohan destroyed the sea of fire with one sword strike. Her gaze remained calm as she murmured, "They ran away quite fast." The abyssal demon lord had fled, escaping extremely quickly and pathetically, without even having time to fart. At this moment, Lin Mohan reached out her hand, and several drops of blood flew over, landing in her palm. These drops of blood contained immense power and looked like black ink. Though the abyssal demon lord had escaped, he was still injured. This was his blood. Lin Mohan put away the blood, her gaze cold. "Next time I will definitely slay you." After defeating the abyssal demon lord, Lin Mohan did not move, but closed her eyes to meditate instead. Though she had struck several sword blows that looked effortless, in reality her power was almost completely depleted. The other Saint Venerables who were still fighting all showed shocked expressions. They never imagined the abyssal demon lord would be defeated so thoroughly and quickly. Originally they had hoped the abyssal demon lord would kill Lin Mohan and then come help them. Now it seemed the situation had completely reversed. Fortunately, Lin Mohan did not move after defeating the abyssal demon lord, clearly having exhausted too much power. The magma demon lord, who was fighting the rune Saint Venerable, suddenly roared angrily. His body violently exploded. Magma avatar, his body split into three. The main body continued fighting the rune Saint Venerable, while the two split-off avatars flew rapidly towards Lin Mohan to kill her. The magma demon lord wanted to kill Lin Mohan while she was meditating. In the Saint Venerable's eyes, no matter how strong Lin Mohan's attacks were, she was still only a transcendent. Without a rule world, killing her shouldn't be difficult. Although the magma demon lord was not particularly fast, he was still a Saint Venerable, so his speed was not slow. The rune Saint Venerable coldly snorted, "I expected this." An ancient rune flew out, overtaking the magma demon lord's avatars despite starting later. The ancient rune transformed into a world, becoming 6 powerful warriors who blocked the magma demon lord's avatars. Though the 6 ancient rune warriors were not as strong as the avatars, they outnumbered them and could hold them off for a while. At this moment, a black gold light suddenly appeared silently, traversing billions of miles of space to arrive beside Lin Mohan. The black gold Saint Venerable had arrived. It wasn't his main body, but an avatar. "Watch out!" The kill Saint Venerable's angry roar came half a beat slower than the black gold Saint Venerable's avatar, only ringing out now. It's too late. The rune Saint Venerable's eyes narrowed sharply. He hadn't expected the black gold Saint Venerable to suddenly sneak attack. He could see that the sneak attacker was one of the Black Gold Saint Venerable's magical treasures. This magical treasure could transform into the Black Gold Saint Venerable's appearance and possess part of his battle power for a certain period of time. At this moment, a long spear suddenly appeared beside Lin Mohan. The War God spear abruptly materialized, blasting back the Black Gold Saint Venerable. The Black Gold Saint Venerable was torn apart by the War God spear, turning back into a magical treasure that flew back. The War God spear also flashed once before returning to the War Saint Venerable's hand. Holding the War God spear, the War Saint Venerable looked like an ancient war god. His expression was icy cold as he said, "Sneaky tricks or nothing." The Dark Gold Saint Venerable he was fighting coldly snorted, "You'd better worry about yourself." He exploded with dark gold light. A golden eagle appeared in space, its wings spread to tens of millions of meters. The golden eagle flapped its wings, shooting out countless golden lights. Each beam of golden light was like an arrow, extremely sharp and capable of destroying stars. The War Saint Venerable had just expended significant energy to send the War God spear across space to save Lin Mohan. Facing the golden eagle's attack, the War Saint Venerable swallowed a pill. The War God spear hovered above his head, forming a defense. With the War God spear in hand, the War Saint Venerable was not afraid of the Dark Gold Saint Venerable. However, the Dark Gold Saint Venerable's strength was somewhat greater than the Black Gold Saint Venerable's. The two were evenly matched. At this point, neither side had brought out their rule worlds yet. It was not time for a desperate fight to the death. Suddenly the Sword Saint Venerable called out, "Be careful." Among the myriad golden lights, some suddenly changed direction and flew towards Lin Mohan. These golden lights gathered together, forming a slightly smaller golden eagle. By the time it was noticed, it was already at point-blank range. The Rune Saint Venerable's eyes bulged, but it was too late for him to intervene now. The Kill Saint Venerable's body turned ethereal as he activated his rule power. He flew towards Lin Mohan at an astonishing speed. With his speed, he might be able to save Lin Mohan. A cold laugh rang out as space suddenly brightened, enveloped in gold. The Kill Saint Venerable's form materialized. He could not move stealthily through the golden light. The Black Gold Saint Venerable coldly laughed, "Your opponent is me, Kill Saint Venerable. We're not done fighting yet." The Kill Saint Venerable waved his hand, and a pitch-black world appeared behind him. He had brought out his rule world. He was ready for a desperate fight. The Black Gold Saint Venerable did not want to fight the Kill Saint Venerable to the death. He flapped his wings to retreat, but suddenly his expression changed drastically and he let out a miserable scream. A huge wound had suddenly appeared on his wing, nearly severing it. What was terrifying was that he had no idea where the attack came from. The Kill Saint Venerable coldly laughed, "Then I'll kill you first." The golden eagle arrived in front of Lin Mohan, stabbing towards her like an arrow. Lin Mohan was still meditating with her eyes closed, seemingly unaware. At this moment, the heaven and earth sword let out a clear ringing sound. In an instant, heaven and earth were inverted and space reversed. The golden eagle immediately lost its bearings. Right in front of Lin Mohan, it suddenly turned and flew upwards. At the same time, a sword light descended from the sky, directly striking the golden eagle and destroying it. The heaven and earth sword rapidly rotated around Lin Mohan, firmly protecting her. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. A magical treasure with sentience, automatically protecting its master. No wonder she dared to meditate on the battlefield. So she was relying on her magical treasure. What kind of sword is that? Its power seems immense. It must be at least a Saint Venerable level magical treasure. Chapter 2135, 2135. Chapter 2135, Take my spear, this ends here. The human Saint Venerables all breathed a sigh of relief. With a magical treasure protecting her, no wonder Lin Mohan wasn't worried about sneak attacks. Especially the Sword Saint Venerable, who suddenly remembered the sword in Lin Mohan's hand, thinking to herself, with the heaven and earth sword protecting her, there's really nothing to worry about. On the 100 Race Alliance side, the expressions of the several Saint Venerables were extremely unpleasant. They hadn't expected Lin Mohan to have such a powerful magical treasure protecting her, easily destroying the Dark Gold Saint Venerable's spell. Another scream rang out as the Black Gold Saint Venerable was somehow struck by a sword again, with another wound appearing on his body. The injury wasn't severe, just a flesh wound, but he still couldn't find his opponent. The Kill Saint Venerable had summoned his rule world, with pitch-black mist enveloping space. Even the black gold Saint Venerable's golden light couldn't penetrate it. No one could see clearly into the kill Saint Venerable's rule world. His rule world was completely shrouded in black mist, and no one knew exactly what was inside. The black gold Saint Venerable was swallowed by the black mist, then a light as bright as a sun rose within the black mist. The black gold Saint Venerable had deployed his rule world. Within the golden light, the black gold Saint Venerable suddenly revealed a ferocious expression. Before his eyes, a terrifying figure suddenly appeared. Somehow, Lin Mohan had appeared in front of him, raising the heaven and earth sword to strike down at him. His vision was filled with sword energy, as if about to devour him. The black gold Saint Venerable retreated with a scream, when suddenly he felt pain in his back, followed by an explosion. The black gold Saint Venerable was blasted away, with a large hole appearing in his chest. His entire body, from back to front, was completely shattered, with all his internal organs pulverized. Only then did the black gold Saint Venerable realize there was no Lin Mohan at all. What he had seen before was just an illusion. Lin Mohan was still standing far away, motionless as she meditated. He didn't know how the kill Saint Venerable had created such an illusion that could even fool him. At this moment, the black mist extended towards him again, about to swallow him. The black gold Saint Venerable felt fear in his heart. Not daring to continue fighting, he let out a strange cry and immediately fled far away. A roar sounded in space as the war god's spear tore apart the dark gold Saint Venerable's spell. The war Saint Venerable summoned his rule world, and a terrifying war god appeared in space. The war god's appearance was identical to Shaozantian. The war Saint Venerable had used Shaozantian as the model to construct his rule world. His rule world was the war god Shaozantian, once the nightmare of all races. The myriad-colored water flew out, and the power of belief burned. At this moment, the war Saint Venerable was like Shaozantian reborn. He raised the war god's spear, and instantly a terrifying giant spear millions of meters long materialized in space, carrying the momentum to pierce the heavens as it thrust towards the dark gold Saint Venerable. The dark gold Saint Venerable also summoned his rule world, which was a golden sun. Golden flames burned within the sun, but facing the war god's spear, his rule world developed countless cracks. The dark gold Saint Venerable let out a strange cry, transforming into a stream of light and quickly retreating, fleeing billions of miles in an instant. There was terror in his eyes, but the war god's spear pierced through space, following closely behind. He screamed again, instantly fleeing out of sight. Another stream of light fled into the distance. The black gold Saint Venerable had also escaped. At the same time, his voice echoed through space. Retreat! The Magma Demon Lord and Blood Bull Saint Venerable retreated at the same time. With the Saint Venerables retreating, it meant the 100 Race Alliance was routed once again. Last time, the humans didn't pursue. But this time, the Sword Saint Venerable issued the order to pursue with full force. Kill! The human army, with overwhelming momentum, advanced and crushed everything in their path. The several Saint Venerables all attacked towards the Transcendent Realm experts. This time, they were determined to kill to their heart's content. The 100 Race Alliance was not like the human race, their hearts were never truly united. Now they were utterly routed, fleeing as fast as they could. Over 1 billion troops were in retreat, in complete chaos and disorder. The humans pursued and killed relentlessly behind them, leaving countless corpses. In this chaotic situation, the Transcendent Realm experts of the 100 Race Alliance wanted to draw the battle into areas with ordinary soldiers, using them as hostages to restrict the humans' attacks. But they couldn't do it. Space was in complete disarray, with troops scattered in all directions. There was no way to find large concentrated groups of troops. Moreover, the humans were determined this time. Even if they had to pay some price, they would pursue to the end. The death toll of the 100 Race Alliance kept rising. Corpses filled space, too numerous to count. After pursuing for billions of miles, they finally saw some planets. There were over 100 planets, arranged in a special formation in space. At the center of the planets floated a huge palace. This was the headquarters of the 100 Race Alliance, and countless people were fleeing into it. There were still some garrison troops in the headquarters, but they now appeared very panicked. The soldiers who had fled back in defeat were all terrified, and their emotions infected the garrison troops as well. Everyone knew that they had lost this great battle again, and lost very thoroughly. In the distance, they saw the powerful human army pursuing and killing as they approached. Some cowardly garrison troops let out strange cries and joined the fleeing crowd, abandoning even the headquarters. Stop! When they were still 100 million miles from the 100 Race Alliance headquarters, the Sword Saint Venerable suddenly issued an order. The human soldiers were disciplined and immediately halted. On the battlefield, the Sword Saint Venerable's orders were the highest command, and no one would disobey. The palace in the 100 Race Alliance headquarters radiated light, which transformed into countless lines connecting over 100 planets together. A barrier naturally formed, with a demon face appearing on it. Demon Lord. The Sword Saint Venerable's voice was cold as she stared at that demon face. The demon face was the Demon Lord, the foundation of the demon race. Like Star Elder, he was a terrifying half-step supreme existence. The Demon Lord said in a low voice, "We have lost this battle." The Sword Saint Venerable laughed coldly, "You shouldn't have come out." The Demon Lord said, "But this old one still came." The meaning in his words was very clear, "I came out anyway, what can you do about it?" At this moment, the War Saint Venerable arrived with his rule world, like Shaozantian reborn, towering between heaven and earth. The War Saint Venerable said coldly, "Take my spear, and this battle ends here." The Demon Lord said in a low voice, "Very well." The myriad-colored water and the power of belief burned simultaneously, pushing this spear thrust to the extreme. The giant manifested by the rule world took the War God spear, which grew to millions of meters long, and thrust out. Space shattered with a boom as the War God spear, carrying world-destroying might, struck towards the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord let out a roar, spewing two-colored fire from his mouth. The abyssal fire and hellfire fused together, forming true demon flames. The flames also transformed into a long spear, clashing with the War God spear. With a tremendous boom, planets shattered one after another. In an instant, 10 planets were obliterated, and at least hundreds of thousands of people from the 100 Race Alliance died on the spot. The images of the War God Spear and Demon Flame Spear both dissipated simultaneously, with no victor. The Demon Lord's voice slowly rang out, "This spear of yours already has 30% of Shaozantian's power back then. But to deal with me, it's still a bit lacking." The War Saint Venerable withdrew his rule world. His face was pale, having expended all his power in that single spear thrust. Swallowing a pill, the War Saint Venerable said, "The Demon Lord is indeed formidable. Let this battle end here. If you want to fight again, we humans will oblige to the end." After saying this, he gave a look to the Sword Saint Venerable. The Sword Saint Venerable called out loudly, "Withdraw the troops." Chapter 2136, 2136. Chapter 2136, People gone, star systems gone. Along the way, the human race collected the bodies. Even the weakest among them were God Kings, and the slightly stronger ones were God Venerables. The bodies of the alien races were also very useful, as they could be used for alchemy and crafting. At the same time, the bodies of fallen human comrades needed to be collected and brought back for proper burial. Lin Mohan had also finished adjusting her breath. Although her strength had not fully recovered, it was stable. Returning to the human camp, the Sword Saint Venerable ordered a tally of the casualties. The War Saint Venerable looked at the Sword Saint Venerable with some embarrassment. "I took the liberty of making a decision on your behalf, don't be angry." The Sword Saint Venerable shook her head, "I won't be. It should have stopped anyway. Even if you hadn't acted, I would have tried the Demon Lord myself." The War Saint Venerable said, "The Demon Lord is indeed powerful. I struck with all my might, yet he easily blocked it. A half-step supreme is truly extraordinary." The strike from the War Saint Venerable just now had reached the peak of the Saint Venerable level. He had used both the myriad-colored water and the power of belief, but still couldn't do anything to the Demon Lord. Moreover, this wasn't even the Demon Lord's true body, just a projection of his power through the barrier, showing a significant gap in strength. It was precisely because of the Demon Lord's presence that the Sword Saint Venerable ordered the pursuit to stop. The Sword Saint Venerable said, "I also wanted to test him earlier. Now it seems his strength far surpasses ours, only Star Elder can compare." The Kill Saint Venerable said, "Back then, Lord War God didn't destroy the demon race, one reason being the Demon Lord. The events of that year were very secretive, known only to a few Saint Venerables, and even they weren't very clear on the details. If anyone in the human race knew the whole story, it would be Star Elder and the Human Emperor. But they knew that Shaozantian originally intended to destroy the demon race but failed because of the Demon Lord. Later, the human race recovered and became stronger, surpassing the demon race in strength. Yet they still couldn't destroy the demon race, and the deepest reason was the Demon Lord. A half-step supreme is not strictly a supreme but still within the transcendent realm. The transcendent realm is a large realm with significant differences within it. Saint Venerables are far superior to ordinary transcendents, and half-step supremes are far superior to Saint Venerables. At this level of strength, the effect of numbers becomes significantly reduced. The human race could destroy the 3 silver races because they had no half-step supremes. But both the demon race and the golden eagle race had half-step supremes. The War Saint Venerable said, I heard from Star Elder that Lin Xiaoyu has a trump card that can kill the demon lord, but for some reason, he can't use it. The specific reason wasn't explained by Star Elder, just told me not to rush and wait. Lin Mohan suddenly spoke, when I reach the Saint Venerable level and construct a rule world, I should be able to kill him. Everyone looked at Lin Mohan simultaneously, and the Sword Saint Venerable's eyes shone, as what Mohan said true. Lin Mohan said, I said, the problem shouldn't be too big. The War Saint Venerable also said, how confident are you, Fairy Han? Lin Mohan said, 50%, but we'll see when the time comes. The War Saint Venerable said, then we'll wait for Fairy Han to reach the Saint Venerable level. As long as we can kill the demon lord, we can destroy the demon race. In the 100 Race Alliance camp, the morale of the remaining soldiers was low, completely devoid of fighting spirit. In this battle, countless died and were injured, making it difficult to count. Most importantly, their morale was utterly crushed. They felt that even with the 100 Race Alliance, they couldn't compete with the human race. The human race seemed like a galaxy in front of them, insurmountable. The teleportation array lit up, and hellfire burned fiercely. The Hell Demon Lord arrived, stepping into the central castle to meet the other Saint Venerables. The Abyssal Demon Lord was severely injured, and his rule world was heavily damaged. He needs time to heal. During this time, I will replace the Abyssal Demon Lord. But I'm simple-minded and not good at thinking, only fighting. You discuss the specifics and just tell me what to do. He sat down carelessly, stating his position. Although he claimed to be simple-minded, thinking so would be a big mistake. The Hell Demon Lord just didn't like thinking, but it didn't mean he couldn't. To become a Saint Venerable, none could truly be fools. The 2 Saint Venerables of the Golden Eagle race were also injured, but fortunately, they were only physical injuries and could heal quickly. The Dark Gold Saint Venerable held a golden gem, eyes closed, ignoring the Hell Demon Lord. The Black Gold Saint Venerable said, this time we suffered heavy losses. The most troublesome part is the loss of morale. Reorganizing will take time. I'm curious, what exactly happened back then? They all saw the Abyssal Demon Lord's abnormality but still didn't know what had happened. The Hell Demon Lord said, that's the second thing I wanted to say. Our army in the White Tiger Star region was wiped out. Thud, everyone looked over, knowing this was no small matter. The Black Gold Saint Venerable said, I remember we left 1 billion troops there, along with 2 transcendents. Although not strong, how could they be wiped out? Was it the human race? But if the human race acted, we would know. The Hell Demon Lord said, it wasn't the human race, it was a starry sky giant tree. This made it even stranger. They all knew the starry sky giant tree, which mastered the laws of space and was invincible in the same realm. In the great world, there was only one starry sky giant tree that had reached the transcendent realm. The Black Gold Saint Venerable said, why did it attack us? The Hell Demon Lord shook his head, I don't know. That's just one thing. There's another. The White Stone Race, Earth Stone Race, Sand Race, and 10 other races are gone. The Black Gold Saint Venerable was even more puzzled. What do you mean by, gone? The Hell Demon Lord said, gone means gone. The people are gone, and the star systems are gone. This news was even more shocking. The Black Gold Saint Venerable couldn't help but stand up. Have the ghost races appeared again? The Hell Demon Lord shook his head, not sure. Our barrier and the Abyssal Demon Eye didn't detect anything, they just disappeared suddenly. The Hell Demon Lord couldn't explain it clearly. The Abyssal Demon Eye was controlled by the Abyssal Demon Lord, and he only knew what the Abyssal Demon Lord had told him. The Saint Venerables looked at each other, not knowing what to do. At this moment, the Dark Gold Saint Venerable said, my Emperor has already met with the Demon Lord. They will investigate this matter. Our task now is to reorganize the army, adjust morale, and continue the war with the human race. In deep space, Lin Moyu was surrounded by flowing laws. The laws of time poured down like flowing light, enveloping his entire body. The space around Lin Moyu continuously twisted, rolling like waves, appearing very orderly. This was deep space, where the power of space was chaotic and disorderly. But Lin Moyu's space laws could sort it out, making it orderly. Lin Moyu had been in meditation for over a year. The first 50 days were spent in enlightenment, during which his understanding of the laws of time and space deepened continuously. When the enlightenment state ended, his mastery of the laws of time had reached 40%, and the same for the laws of space, both maintaining a balanced state. From 24% to 40%, it was a huge leap for Lin Moyu, equivalent to 1,000 years of hard cultivation in just 50 days. After the 50 days, Lin Moyu spent the remaining 300 days integrating the two laws. The combination of the laws of time and space could form the power of space-time. The effect of the space laws would be further amplified. It took Lin Moyu over 300 days to complete the integration of the two laws. He slowly opened his eyes and murmured to himself, "It's time to break through." Chapter 2137, 2137. Chapter 2137, Advancing to Divine Venerable Rank 5. The warship left deep space and returned to the surface. Looking at the star map, Lin Moyu found he was not far from human territory. He also sensed for the starry sky giant tree, but could no longer detect it. Resurrected beings could only exist for 100 days. Over 200 days ago, the starry sky giant tree had already vanished. Perhaps in the future, a new starry sky giant tree would appear in the great world, but it would no longer be this one. Lin Moyu sensed the last location of the starry sky giant tree, which was not far from him, only 200 million kilometers away. The order he had given the starry sky giant tree was to kill the transcendents, then follow him and bring the transcendents' corpses. As a resurrected being, the starry sky giant tree would fully execute Lin Moyu's orders. It had followed Lin Moyu, carrying the two broken corpses, until its time ran out. Each of Lin Moyu's steps covered 100 million kilometers. In just 2 or 3 steps, he arrived at the starry sky giant tree's last location. In the silent starry sky, 2 broken corpses floated. The corpses still emanated powerful auras, telling of their strength in life. In this era, transcendents were absolute powerhouses, at the top of the food chain. But they still died, their bodies shattered. Lin Moyu collected 2 pieces of the corpses, then summoned the bone hell. The hell spirits devoured the remaining corpses. 2 transcendent corpses were worth more than tens of millions of divine venerables. The hell spirit's aura seemed to strengthen again. 2 transcendents, even their last traces erased, and they would become Lin Moyu's weapons. This is karma too. Today's fruit comes from yesterday's seed. Without the power to resist, one can only endure. Lin Moyu sighed. The immortal Law Star River emerged. Lin Moyu stepped into it and moved forward. The laws of time and space had increased from 24% to 40%, enough for Lin Moyu to break through again. For Lin Moyu, neither the soul realm nor the physical realm posed obstacles. As long as the laws of time and space met the requirements, he could break through. Lin Moyu strode forward in the immortal Law Star River. His aura grew stronger and stronger. In just half a day, he reached Divine Venerable Rank 4. Divine Venerable Rank 4, also called Mid-Rank Divine Venerable, represented a significant improvement in strength. Lin Moyu could feel power surging throughout his body as he entered Divine Venerable Rank 4. Both his physical body and soul were strengthening. The purple gold body glowed brightly. The already perfected purple gold body grew even stronger. Standing in the immortal Law Star River, Lin Moyu looked at the time and space Law Star rivers on either side. With a thought, vast power surged from the 2 Law Star rivers, falling onto his body. At this moment, the immortal law became the leader, while the time and space laws became soldiers, following the leader's commands. Lin Moyu continued forward, step by step. Suddenly his foot paused. He had kicked something. Reaching down, he scooped up a material from the Law Star River. The material was fist-sized, like a pebble, half gray and half white, perfectly matching the immortal law. He had always known there were many good things in the Law Star rivers. Many divine venerables liked to swim in the Law Star rivers to search for treasures. He hadn't deliberately searched, but unexpectedly obtained a material. This material contained both the power of life and death. Its grade was divine venerable level, a decent material. However, for Lin Moyu, a divine venerable grade material was too low quality and not very useful. Still, it was the first thing he had obtained from the Law Star River, so it had some commemorative value. He casually put it away and continued walking. His aura kept strengthening, advancing towards Divine Venerable Rank 5. The Lost Star River was vast, with surging waves crashing over. Lin Moyu crossed the Star River with his physical body. Purple golden light flickered constantly. Step by step, he remained unmoved no matter how the waves crashed against him. Getting closer to the center of the Star River, he would be able to advance to Divine Venerable rank 5 once he reached the center. Suddenly, his foot kicked something again. Reaching down to scoop it up, it was another material, basically the same as the previous one. Lin Moyu found it strange. Although there are materials in the Lost Star River, it's said they are not abundant. Usually one has to search for a long time to find one. I've obtained 2 in a short time. Is it because of my good luck? Lin Moyu knew his luck was good, but not to this extent. After brief consideration, Lin Moyu thought of another possibility. For other laws, many people cultivated them together. Although the Lost Star Rivers were vast, with many people entering at the same time, even if there were many materials inside, they would all be taken. For the Immortal Law, as far as he knew, he was the only one cultivating it. In other words, in the Immortal Lost Star River, he was alone, with no one to compete with him. So naturally the probability of encountering materials and treasures was much higher. Lin Moyu looked towards the depths of the Lost Star River. The Lost Star River came rolling from an unknown place, an area very few could reach. It's said that in the depths of the Lost Star River, earth-shaking treasures are hidden, but no one has ever obtained them. In the future, when I have the chance, I can go take a look. Moving forward again, he finally crossed half the distance, arriving at the center between the two shores. Powerful energy surged from all parts of his body as he officially advanced to Divine Venerable rank 5. Standing in the Star River, looking at the opposite shore, as long as I cross the Star River and step onto the other shore, I'll be at the transcendent realm. If I keep walking like this, crossing the Star River seems very simple. But those Divine Venerables who only cultivate their souls and not their physical bodies will be stuck at the last step. Their souls can touch the other shore, but their physical bodies haven't moved a step. That's why they thought of the blood path to transcendence as a shortcut, using the power of blood to form a blood path to help their physical bodies cross the Star River. Shortcuts are always just shortcuts. Without the physical body being baptized by the Lost Star River, even if one becomes a transcendent, the foundation is unstable. It will be very difficult to make up for it in the future. Even at the Saint Venerable realm, one won't be able to construct a perfect rule world. At most it will only be ordinary level. Supreme Venerable would be the limit, with Heavenly Venerable out of reach. Lin Moyu deeply understood that the path of cultivation was tightly linked, with each step closely connected. One wrong step could lead to errors in every subsequent step, making it very difficult to correct. Lin Moyu could only ensure that he took each step well and steadily, never making a mistake. Leaping out of the Immortal Lost Star River, Lin Moyu turned his head to look at the Space Lost Star River. A person appeared there. Lin Moyu knew it was just an illusion, indicating someone had entered the Space Lost Star River. In the Great World, those who mastered the space law were mainly the star space fish people, along with a few star space beasts. The person he sensed should be from the star space fish race. According to the starry sky giant tree, the star space fish people would not allow anyone else to comprehend the space law. He had once been attacked by the star space fish people with karmic weapons. If he didn't have countermeasures, he might have been injured or even perished. The star space fish people's actions were extremely domineering and unreasonable. In his perception, that person was rapidly approaching him. Lin Moyu knew it was because he had just used the Space Lost Star River, alerting the other party. The illusion walked on the waves, quickly arriving before Lin Moyu. Its body was hazy, its appearance unclear. Because this was the Lost Star River, the person was using their soul, not even their entire soul, but likely just a strand of it. Hello, human Lin Moyu. My name is Yuchime. Yuchime, the leader of the star space fish people. Lin Moyu hadn't expected the person who came to be him. Lin Moyu's tone was indifferent, neither servile nor overbearing. Have you come to kill me? Chapter 2138, 2138. Chapter 2138. Not just 5 transcendents. Lin Moyu's tone was very cold. There was no need to be polite to someone who wanted to kill him. If not for the cooperation between their two races, and his good relationship with Yu Qingru's father, perhaps Lin Moyu would have already gone to kill them. Towards enemies, Lin Moyu was never soft-handed, nor did he show mercy. Seeming to sense Lin Moyu's killing intent, Yuchime quickly explained, "Mr. Lin, please don't misunderstand. There may have been some misunderstandings between us before. Since Yuchime came here, he must have already thought of what to say. Regarding this, Lin Moyu didn't want to hear any explanations. In the face of facts, any explanation was pale and powerless. Lin Moyu said, "Let's not mention past events. Tell me your purpose for coming." Yuchime said, "Actually, I came to apologize." For a saint venerable to open his mouth and say he came to apologize was indeed rare. When would a saint venerable ever lower themselves to apologize to a divine venerable? This must have taken a great deal of determination to put aside his pride. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed slightly. "There's no need for apologies. How about something more practical?" Apologies were actually meaningless. Even saying sorry 1,000 times wouldn't help. It was better to offer some practical compensation. Lin Moyu threw the ball to Yuchime, wanting to see what kind of compensation the star space fish race could offer. The amount of compensation would basically represent how sincere they were. Yuchime seemed to have anticipated Lin Moyu would say this, and without much thought said, "The human race is large and prosperous, you probably don't lack for anything. How about this? I can promise Mr. Lin one request. Anytime, anywhere, Mr. Lin can ask me for one favor. As long as it's within my power, I will certainly agree." The promise of a saint venerable seemed very valuable, but was also very vague. A promise was just a promise. Agreeing now didn't mean he would necessarily agree when the time came. Lin Moyu naturally wouldn't easily believe this, but thinking about it, he really didn't need anything. Moreover, Yuchime's status was different. He was both a saint venerable and the leader of the star space fish race. Perhaps his promise would actually be useful. Of course, agreeing so easily wasn't possible. Lin Moyu said, "Then make an oath." Yuchime said, "Of course. But would Mr. Lin also make an oath?" Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Naturally." Saying this, Lin Moyu began to make a great world oath, that as long as Yuchime agreed to his future request, he would consider the previous attack with karmic weapons as if it never happened. The premise was that the star space fish race would not provoke him again. After Lin Moyu finished his oath, Yuchime also made an oath. With the constraint of the Great World Runes, the effect of the promise would be somewhat strengthened. After making the oaths, Lin Moyu's attitude improved considerably. "Does the clan leader have any other business?" Yuchime said, "I won't disturb Mr. Lin any further." After saying this, his soul gradually dissipated. Yuchime had left. A faint smile appeared on Lin Moyu's lips. "I hope you won't regret it when the time comes." In fact, Lin Moyu never thought he would need the other party's promise. Compared to asking others to do something, Lin Moyu had more faith in his own fists. As long as his fists were big and hard enough, there was no need to ask others for favors. After advancing to Divine Venerable rank 5, Lin Moyu began to examine his techniques. Except for the Bone Hell, every technique had been strengthened. Advancing 2 ranks in succession, the Undead Legion had undergone the biggest changes. The Skeleton Generals had reached Divine Venerable rank 8, while the Death Dragon Knights had become Divine Venerable rank 9, with the combat power of peak Divine Venerables. The Legion ruler's combat power had reached half-step transcendent, similar to Zhu Qiwu when he opened the blood path to transcendence. Combined with the Legion ruler's extremely strong self-healing ability, in a real fight, it was hard to say who would be stronger. What made Lin Moyu happiest was that the Skeleton King had finally stepped into the transcendent realm. When the Skeleton King appeared in space, a large area of space collapsed, as if unable to bear the Skeleton King's power. After reaching the transcendent realm, the Skeleton King gained a new ability. He could freely change his size, from as small as 10 meters to as large as 1,000,000 meters. The smaller the form, the faster the speed, but the power would also decrease accordingly. The larger the form, the slower the speed, but the power would increase accordingly. Keeping the form between 1,000 and 10,000 meters could balance agility and power, which was the Skeleton King's most comprehensive state. The Skeleton King's transformation could make battles more diverse and flexible. Finally reached the Transcendent Realm. With a Transcendent Realm Skeleton King, many things would become much more convenient. After all, not all races had Saint Venerables. And even for races with Transcendence, they usually only had 1 or 2. The Skeleton King had a full 5. Combined with runes, Lin Moyu felt he alone could now face those races head-on. The Skeleton King changed size according to Lin Moyu's will. From the Transcendent Realm onwards, the Skeleton King was covered in transparent armor. The white bones glowed under the armor. Rule's power flowed throughout his body, with all laws completely gone. Lin Moyu knew the Skeleton King's rules power was called Bone Rules, evolved from Bone Laws. But he didn't know exactly what the Bone Rules could do, and the Skeleton King couldn't tell him either. Trying to have the Skeleton King demonstrate the Bone Rules, Lin Moyu expressed that he couldn't understand. However, when the rules power appeared, even Lin Moyu as the master felt somewhat frightened, as if seeing something terrifying. The Bone Rules should be very powerful, I just don't understand them yet. With 5 transcendents, except for a few races and some strong races, I can sweep through all other races. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration struck, and he blurted out, no, not just 5. His mind moved, and the origin technique activated. Immense power transmitted from the Undead Legion, rapidly raising his realm. Starting from Divine Venerable rank 5, in the blink of an eye he broke through to high rank Divine Venerable, with strands of rules power being born, surrounding his entire body. In an instant, he had surpassed Divine Venerable and reached half-step Transcendent. Before the breakthrough, this was his strongest state. Now, as power continued to pour in, he finally broke through the limit and stepped into Transcendent. Lin Moyu felt his own state, comparing the differences with other Transcendents. Without truly crossing the Lost Star River, my control over rules power is still much weaker than true Transcendence. Rules power is the foundation of Transcendence. The reason Transcendents are so powerful is that they've converted all their laws into rules power. But my laws are still laws, and even. Lin Moyu looked at the Skeleton King in front of him. He felt that he might not even be as strong as the Skeleton King. No matter how the Skeleton King achieved the Transcendent Realm, his entire body no longer had any trace of laws, only rules power. From Divine Venerable to Transcendent was a huge leap. But regardless, his combat power had already surpassed Divine Venerable and could barely be considered Transcendent. Including the Skeleton King, he now had 6 Transcendents on his side, greatly increasing his combat power. Putting away the Skeleton King, Lin Moyu muttered to himself, I can start the second phase of the plan. In the former Buddhist territory, now the Star Space Fish Race territory. The Star Space Fish Race had set up extremely complex space formations here, forming a powerful monitoring and defense system. Utilizing space was the Star Space Fish Race's strongest ability. In the core area, Yuchime opened his eyes, his consciousness returning. Beside him, a Grand Elder immediately asked, Clan Leader, how did it go? Yuchime let out a sigh of relief, it's settled. Lin Moyu agreed to our terms. Those matters will be considered as if they never happened. What price did the clan leader pay? Yuchime explained the process. The Grand Elder breathed a sigh of relief, that's not too bad. He didn't make exorbitant demands. Yuchime said solemnly, this Lin Moyu is too terrifying. He's very likely to be a second Shaozantian. And with the human race so strong now, we can't afford to provoke him for the time being. He thought for a moment, then added, Princess Qingru has a good relationship with Lin Moyu. Perhaps we can have Princess Qingru help repair the relationship between us. Chapter 2139, 2139. Chapter 2139, both siblings are monsters. The warship sailed towards the outer regions once again. Lin Moyu's second step in his plan was to strengthen the Bone Hell. Strengthening the Bone Hell would make his upcoming tasks easier. The ghost race had already appeared once, so there was no need for them to appear again for now. Moreover, the Tao poison had not dissipated, making it unsuitable to enter an enlightenment state again. The enlightenment triggered by 10 races together was more effective than that of a single race, and the residual Tao poison would be less. This time, the residual Tao poison would take only 30 years to completely dissipate. Lin Moyu planned to make the ghost race disappear for 30 years, using this time to elevate the Bone Hell to Divine Venerable rank 9. In the Vermilion Bird battlefield, within the military camp, the Sword Saint Venerable looked at Lin Mohan with a somewhat complex expression. Lin Mohan was currently cultivating, and her aura was steadily rising. Just now, Lin Mohan had only said one sentence. She needed to cultivate and asked the Sword Saint Venerable to protect her. Then she entered a cultivation state. This was not the first time such a thing had happened. Each time Lin Mohan's realm would improve. This time was no different, her realm was steadily rising. Previously, she had just entered the Transcendent Realm, and her realm was not particularly stable. Keen observers could still see residual laws on her body. But now, the residual laws were rapidly transforming into rules power. Lin Mohan was getting stronger. Such a cultivation speed was astonishing. The Sword Saint Venerable activated a formation to prevent anyone from disturbing Lin Mohan and stood guard outside the formation, not leaving her side. The Kill Saint Venerable and the Rune Saint Venerable came over together. The Kill Saint Venerable glanced at Lin Mohan and smiled. It seems Lin's realm has improved again. The Sword Saint Venerable looked over with confusion. Are you talking about Lin Moyu, that guy? The Kill Saint Venerable replied. Who else could it be? The Sword Saint Venerable was puzzled. What does Mohan's improvement have to do with Lin Moyu? The Kill Saint Venerable laughed. Guess. The Sword Saint Venerable's eyebrows raised, almost drawing her sword on the spot. I don't guess, just tell me. The Kill Saint Venerable put on a smug look, as if saying, what can you do about it? One had to admit, the Kill Saint Venerable's current demeanor was quite infuriating. The Rune Saint Venerable acted as a mediator. It's because of bloodline resonance. Every time Lin's realm improves, it pushes Mohan's realm to improve as well. The Sword Saint Venerable was stunned, then suddenly realized, no wonder Mohan's advancements have been so sudden. Without using the blood path, she reached the transcendent realm in just over 10 years. I thought it was due to her unparalleled talent, but it turns out it's because of bloodline resonance. The Rune Saint Venerable shook his head. It's not entirely due to bloodline resonance. Mohan's own talent must also be extremely strong. Bloodline resonance alone wouldn't achieve such results. After discovering the bloodline resonance between Lin Moyu and Lin Mohan, the Saint Venerables researched a lot of related information through the Human Emperor Network. They concluded that while bloodline resonance had a significant effect, one's own talent was equally important. If Lin Mohan's talent were average, bloodline resonance wouldn't reach this level. The Kill Saint Venerable sneered, you only know part of it. A sword light flashed, and the Sword Saint Venerable's long sword pointed at the Kill Saint Venerable. Are you itching for a fight? The Kill Saint Venerable snorted, you might not be able to beat me now. Behind the Kill Saint Venerable, a mass of mist was rolling. With the help of the Wraith of Zimu, the Kill Saint Venerable's combat power had significantly increased, showing a fearless attitude. The War Saint Venerable arrived at some point, smiling, Old Kill, what else do you know? Tell us. The Kill Saint Venerable said, Lin once said that his sister has a cultivation talent that can increase her cultivation speed by more than 100 times. I think the effect of bloodline resonance might also be influenced by this talent, increasing it by 100 times. The others exchanged glances. Bloodline resonance was already monstrous enough, and with such a talent, it was indeed unimaginable. The Sword Saint Venerable sighed, truly blessed by heaven and earth. The War Saint Venerable shook his head, perhaps she is the reincarnation of an ancient mighty being, beyond comprehension. With extraordinary cultivation talent, bloodline resonance, and the bloodline inheritance of an ancient mighty being, Lin Mohan possessed the ability to fight beyond her level. All these factors made Lin Mohan shine like a star. The siblings could only be described with 2 words, monsters. In the eyes of the Saint Venerables, both siblings were monsters. On the demon race's ancestral star, the abyssal fire burned fiercely. It seemed as if a huge hole had been torn in the void, with flames cascading down like a waterfall. At the bottom of the flame waterfall, the abyssal demon lord bathed in the flames, his aura gradually recovering. However, the recovery was slow and would take a long time. Lin Mohan's sword had almost shattered his rule world. The rule world was everything to a Saint Venerable. When it was damaged, his body and soul were also injured. The abyssal demon lord knew that his defeat was mainly due to the undying skull. Although it was his magical treasure, why did it suddenly explode? A supreme-grade magical treasure contained terrifying power. The flames inside backfired, directly causing him serious injuries. This gave Lin Mohan an opportunity. The abyssal demon lord looked up, his gaze piercing through the flame waterfall into the void, and his hoarse voice echoed, Demon Lord, do you know why? After a moment, a large face appeared in the flames. I told you before, with your ability, you cannot control a supreme-grade magical treasure. Magical treasures have spirits. A supreme-grade magical treasure already possesses a bit of sentience. Perhaps it didn't want you to control it, seeing it as an insult. The abyssal demon lord was clearly unconvinced, but I clearly refined it. The demon lord said, perhaps you only refined the surface. The abyssal demon lord couldn't think of a better answer and could only accept this explanation. The demon lord continued, this is just my guess. I will ask them to see if I can get a more accurate answer. After all, the item was given by them, so they should know better. Recover quickly. The war with the human race is far from over. The Abyssal Demon Lord said in a low voice, "I know, Demon Lord. This time, 10 races were exterminated by the ghost race. I feel something is not right. Could someone be manipulating the ghost race?" The Demon Lord said in a low voice, "There should be. 10 races were exterminated, and even the Abyssal Demon Eye did not issue any warning. Clearly, the ghost race has a way to evade the Abyssal Demon Eye. I will investigate this matter thoroughly." The Demon Lord disappeared, and the Abyssal Demon Lord continued to bathe in the abyssal fire, slowly recovering from his injuries. The flames condensed into Lin Mohan's image, and the Abyssal Demon Lord's low, sinister voice echoed, "Next time, I will definitely kill you." The Blood Bull Saint Venerable came to the statue again, recounting the events of the previous battle. The Blood Bull Saint Venerable was somewhat worried. He feared that the human race was getting stronger and that they might not be able to hold out until the end. After all, there were still over 1300 years before the world's origin would reveal itself. The statue emitted a faint light, gathering into a ball. After 100 days, the light finally condensed into a fist-sized ball. The ball contained extremely terrifying power, and the Blood Bull Saint Venerable carefully received it. The statue's voice slowly echoed, "The time for my descent will be delayed by 5 years. Take care." The Blood Bull Saint Venerable immediately bowed, "Thank you, my lord." Condensing the light ball was not without cost. It consumed a lot of power, delaying his descent by 5 years. But the Blood Bull Saint Venerable didn't mind. He was more concerned about the survival of himself and his race. Chapter 2140, 2140. Chapter 2140, Let the Rules World incorporate the power of the void. Each race has its own calculations. The Demon Race, Golden Eagle Race, and Bull Demon Race all have their own plans and intentions. The 100 Race Alliance now has fewer than 100 races. After the ravaging of the Ghost Race, 13 races silently disappeared. The morale of the current 100 Race Alliance is at an extreme low. It will take a long time to recover. With the Abyssal Demon Lord absent, the Black Gold Saint Venerable of the Golden Eagle Race has become the main leader of the 100 Race Alliance. The 100 Race Alliance has begun to withdraw and no longer deploys troops on all sides of the human race, but concentrates in areas close to the Vermilion Bird and White Tiger Star regions. The total number of troops is still huge, exceeding 2 billion. Among them, the weakest are high-ranked God Kings. In this battle, mid- and low-ranked God Kings have no qualifications to participate, let alone true gods. Even high-ranked God Kings serve as cannon fodder on the battlefield. God Venerables are the main force in this great war, while Transcendents and Saint Venerables truly determine victory or defeat. In terms of total troop numbers, the 100 Race Alliance has surpassed the human race. The number of Transcendents also exceeds the human race, and the total number of Saint Venerables from all races combined is also greater than the human race. But even with advantages in every aspect, they lost, and lost very decisively. This is the real reason for their low morale. However, after some adjustments, things have finally stabilized. After some time, morale can gradually recover. The war between them and the human race is not over, it can only be said to have just begun. At the boundary between the inner and outer realms, this world belonging to the starry sky beasts envelops the entire inner realm space. There are many races in the inner realm space, and not much space belongs to the starry sky beasts, only a few specific places are suitable for them. However, the outer realm, due to its scarce laws and diluted power, is also not a place the starry sky beasts like. Over time, the boundary area between the inner and outer realms has become the best gathering place for starry sky beasts. Large numbers of starry sky beasts gather here, living and resting in this area. There are also powerful beings among the starry sky beasts, with some at the transcendent realm. Just like the former starry sky giant tree, starry sky beasts at this level may develop consciousness and intelligence. They will command other starry sky beasts, forming huge armies to attack weaker races. Almost all weak races in the border areas have been attacked by starry sky beasts. Fortunately, the starry sky beasts only come once, eat some planets and living beings, and then retreat. They seem to know not to go too far, otherwise the powerful beings of various races would intervene. Lin Moyu's warship silently emerged from deep space, then Lin Moyu left the warship and gazed into space. He stood at the edge of the boundary, thinking of the information he had read before. In the boundary area, the number of starry sky beasts is uncountable. There are many transcendents, and even Saint Venerable level starry sky beasts exist. In 30 years, no, less than 29 years, it's impossible to clear out all the starry sky beasts here, even just clearing out 1% is impossible. But I'll clear out as many as I can. The boundary area was too vast, enveloping the entire inner realm space, with an incalculable length. In such a large area, even if Lin Moyu walked through it all, it would take countless time. He stepped into the boundary area and immediately sensed the aura of starry sky beasts. The misty fog dispersed, and the bone hell silently flew out, covering 10 billion li of space. In an instant, it enveloped a large number of starry sky beasts. The starry sky beasts were all startled awake, letting out earth-shaking roars. Unfortunately, the roars couldn't transmit out and could only echo within the bone hell. Hellfire burned them, and hell spirits rushed out to tear them to pieces. Faced with hell spirits at God Venerable rank 8, most starry sky beasts had no resistance. Even the occasional peak God Venerable starry sky beast would die under the siege of hell spirits. Leave some, don't eat them all. Lin Moyu's mind moved, issuing an order. For all starry sky beasts, regardless of their realm, Lin Moyu required leaving some flesh behind. This flesh could be used to perform resurrection of the dead and build an army of resurrected beings. A containment formation followed the bone hell, collecting the remaining flesh of the starry sky beasts. There was no need for classification, just crudely piling them together, quickly forming a mountain of corpses. Lin Moyu pushed the bone hell forward, devouring all starry sky beasts along the way, not sparing a single one. The starry sky beasts were not weak, at least at the God Venerable realm. Devouring them provided significant help for the bone hell's growth. He could feel the bone hell's power rapidly strengthening, getting closer and closer to advancement. Lin Moyu watched battle after battle, observing the ferocious hell spirits, increasingly feeling how abnormal and terrifying this technique was. If one day the bone hell could grow to the transcendent realm, all the transcendence in the great world combined wouldn't be enough for the bone hell to eat. After all, by then, the number of hell spirits would increase further, and each one would be a transcendent. Perhaps even Saint Venerables would turn tail and run when they saw it. Being surrounded by tens of millions of transcendents, even half-step supremes would feel their scalps tingle. Among beings of the same realm, the story of ants biting an elephant to death is not impossible, it just depends on whether there are enough ants. The mountain of corpses in the containment formation grew higher and higher, and the bone hell had devoured an uncountable number of starry sky beasts. The hellfire river became increasingly turbulent, with countless fresh blood pouring into it, making the hellfire river even broader. The spider lilies on both banks also became more vibrant and beautiful. 3 years later, the bone hell finally grew to its limit, but it was still at God Venerable rank 8 and hadn't advanced. After that, no matter how many starry sky beasts it devoured, the bone hell showed no changes. It was like a cup that was already full. No matter how much more water you poured, you couldn't make the cup bigger. Lin Moyu sensed the changes in the bone hell, feeling that it seemed to be lacking something, which prevented it from advancing. After some thought, he finally realized what the bone hell was missing. It lacked real power. The bone hell's attribute was void, and during its previous advancement, Lin Moyu had a sudden idea to make it a combination of void and reality. At that time, the bone hell's power surged, undergoing a qualitative change. Now, the bone hell had again reached the edge of advancement, and it similarly needed real power as a catalyst. Understanding the reason made things easier. The immortal Law Star River appeared, and the gray-white laws poured down like a heavenly waterfall, irrigating the bone hell. The bone hell rumbled, and with the irrigation of real power, it began to grow again despite having reached its limit before. Its power strengthened, but it still didn't advance. Lin Moyu's mind moved, and the bone hell began devouring starry sky beasts again, while the power of the immortal law continued to pour into it. At this moment, the bone hell was like a cup originally full of water, suddenly becoming larger, able to hold more water. It needed to be filled again to truly evolve. Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry. The more it was like this, the more powerful the bone hell would be after advancing. Watching the changes in the bone hell, Lin Moyu began to ponder his own rules world. The combination of void and reality, it seems when I construct my rules world, I must also consider this issue. The power of the void is a power that only supremes encounter. Only in the rules worlds of supremes is it possible for the power of the void to appear. If I use the power of the void from the very beginning of construction, what effect will it have? Roar. Space shook as a sudden roar interrupted Lin Moyu's thoughts.